Hi, I'm Dani Kerr. Get disarranged.
Welcome to the Disarrangement, hosted by the two coolest cats around, Austin Blakely and Nick Branscombe. Prepare to get disarranged.
Come on, come all, for what writes and undulates in your ears is not for the faint of heart. Behold! This is the Disarrangement with your host, Austin Blakely, and co-host Nick Branscombe. How's it going, Nick?
Greetings, friends of Earth and beyond.
Welcome to another great podcast. This is episode 10 if we don't count the holiday episodes.
Yeah.
So episode 10, we're hitting double digits now. I do want to tell you about this, Nick. So I was listening to this rock group the other night, and they have 4 members, and none of them can sing. Like, they're just none of them even try. Have you heard of this band?
No.
You have it?
I don't think so.
You sure?
Yes, I think.
It's called...
No, I guess I'm not sure. But...
It's called Mount Rushmore.
Oh. Ha.
Rock group.
Rock. Founding Fathers.
Founding Fathers. Joke. Yeah. So I guess that's... Well, I just recently started... How many episodes have I had the dad joke in? Probably 5
all
or 6.
Of them.
I don't think it's been all of them. I think I may be on to like 6 or 7. I'm about to buy a book. I've contemplated.
You got to get that one that I was telling you about a couple weeks ago. The one that Patrick Ferguson does.
Yeah, I've contemplated getting me a dad joke book because I'm going to need material. Yeah. But anyway, so we have an awesome guest with us today, and I don't know how this will be kind of edited post just because of the layout of our show today. But it's Miss Dani Kerr. So, I hope I pronounced your last name right. Is it Kerr?
It should be, but it's Carr. My family is
Dani Kerr.
illiterate, so yes.
Okay, Dani Kerr. That's how my last name is, because if you read my last name, it looks like it says Blackley, but it's Blakely. So yeah. my family can't pronounce our own last name either. So, but how you doing today, Dani?
Man, I'm doing awesome, man. I'm super stoked to be a part of this.
Yeah, we were really excited. We were really excited, and just as I was kind of looking into your, I guess music in general, you know, obviously I found a lot of covers, but I also found that you will be releasing an EP here soon, or if not already.
Yes, July 14th. I actually pretty much finalized getting the physical stuff ordered today and got pre-orders going. So it's my first time ever releasing anything. So it's been a fun learning curve past couple months, but I'm super stoked.
Yeah. Just doing it is a feat in its own, you know, just trying to make the physical, and then you got to figure out how to get it distributed and all that stuff. But yeah, good on you. Cause it is a hard road. So anybody that needs an EP, definitely is it the best place to kind of like find it and get it through Facebook, like through you, or if they wanted a physical?
Yeah, Facebook right now houses a lot of the information. That's just kind of the general place to find it right now. But within the next couple of days, it'll be up on my website too. So the links to it will be up on there.
Yeah, we'll put links in this video too, just to help out.
Nice. It's going to be called Old Jail Sessions, right? So
yes.
So you basically went to like an abandoned, I guess, jail cell, or just a place that had jail cells in it. And
I don't know. I saw the video. I thought it was cool.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, how did that go, or how did that come about?
It was really, it was kind of a combination project with some friends of mine in Statesville, which is my hometown, with Grassroots Entertainment group is what they go under. So them and the Arts Council. The Art of Arts Council actually moved into this old jailhouse back in the 70s. So it houses the Arts Council. And since then, they've redone kind of the bottom floor. So the bottom floor actually has a stage area. They'll have concerts in there. They'll have, awesome. Yeah, and it's really cool. But if you go up top, they really haven't done that much with the top of it, especially where the old cells were. I think pretty much the only thing that has been done is they've taken the bedding off of the little beds, but everything is still there, from the pods to all the doors, the big jail doors. all the carvings and writings in the wall from the inmates. And it was just really cool whenever Brian and Josh and Jonathan with Grassroots, whenever they moved into that building in 2021 and started their project, they were telling us about it, and they're like, you guys got to come check out and see what it's like at the top of this thing. And so my boyfriend, who also plays Matt, went and met up with them, and we kind of were like, man, you got to do something up here. You guys should do some type of video or some type of session. And so we've been talking about it for about a year. And back in March, we finally got the time to get up. I was there's a few different positions that are really good for videos in there. I think I was the second person to do anything in there. And I thought it was so cool. I was like, well, let's do a whole a whole EP up here, And so we got there, got set up. My producer, his name's Rocky Lynn. He set up down in the bottom and ran the cords all the way up to the top of the staircase, which is where I was. And all it was 2 condenser microphones
in a room.
Me and my guitar and the empty gel cells. And
that is incredible.
Yeah, it was all live recorded, pretty much one take stuff, no editing as far as anything like that. So it was really
like
cool.
A rocker should.
Yeah, right.
One take,
right.
like Van Halen style.
Yeah. We get way too caught up in being like perfect and everything these days. So it's kind of refreshing to see that somebody's just like, yeah, that was good.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
So,
and it creates a whole vibe too. So like I was just sitting here thinking, like, did you feel anything while you was up there? Just because I feel like those old rooms, like there's just energy that lingers.
100%. The stairway where I was sitting, it was fairly light feeling. There wasn't really a heavy feeling either way in there. But in one of the pod rooms where one of the cameras was, there was definitely some heavy energy in that room. And to me, I don't know, it was this whole thing going on, and it was super inspiring to play up there. And I don't think that I play those songs the same in any other setting. So I definitely think there was some juju in there.
Yeah.
Being in there and doing that.
Whether it helped or and that's the thing too, is like I would be afraid of the energy hurting me. I would be like, it's gonna make me worse.
Right.
Something's gonna come after me. But it's good that in the stairwell, at least, it didn't feel so heavy or so I guess the energy was a good feeling,
right,
in a sense.
And it was we had to wait till dark too, which also made it all the more
spookier.
spooky and fun.
Yeah.
Because there was a huge window, and the light was it was too much during the day, so we just sat around and waited till it got dark in there, which was fun. We were hoping to encounter, they have a ghost, I think they call it Bob. And I was really hoping to get Bob on camera somewhere, but I don't think we did.
Well, maybe you did. Maybe you just got to look carefully at the footage now, and like maybe he's just like somewhere in the corner, or something
Secret
like
Bob.
that. Yeah, like you didn't see it at first, but when you go back and look at the footage, wait, what was that? Go back to that frame, and then he's there for just one frame.
He just shows up on the EP.
Yeah,
and you had no idea he was there.
Yeah.
And then shows up when it's pressed or when everything's done.
I need to put him in the special thanks section.
Special thanks to Bob for not haunting me while I was trying to produce
giving me good juju in this recording.
When I can't imagine all bad things happen in jails, but I think the majority of that energy probably is bad.
I wouldn't know. I've never been to jail before.
but just the space. I mean, you could even see it in the video that you released. Like, just the space just seems so just cool. Like I guess if you were at the top of a staircase, then I bet there were massive amounts of natural reverb.
Oh yeah,
that you could just have.
Yeah, when we were doing it, I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds just so good naturally. You don't even need to add any effect or anything really.
A room can do that
in post production.
A lot of the times in a lot of the situations that me and Nick have been recording, it's almost like you want to pull the room out of it, just because we've never had the pleasure of being in the best rooms while recording. But especially the type of rock we were doing, it kind of made more sense to try try to keep the room from changing the music in a sense, like coloring it. But I've always thought my family's got a barn that they lived in for a moment. It was my uncle, the same uncle I was talking about that plays fiddle. He was living there when he moved back. So he kind of got out of college and then ran around like he was just a hired musician basically for anyone who would take him. And he did a bunch of running, and then when he come back and established himself, that he built that barn. So to this point, you know, they're in a big house now down the road, so that big barn just stays there for music purposes. I've always thought I want to go record something in there and capture that room just because it's a big barn basically.
Right.
But that's about the only situation I've seen myself in where I'm just like, I need to record something in here. But
right.
If I had access to a jail.
Yeah.
Right. It was just one of those things, and I've always loved old places, especially around my hometown. You know, we used to, when I was a teenager, used to run around in an old hospital that used to be there, and so when the opportunity came up to do that, I was like, heck yeah, I want that to be the first thing that comes out.
And that's cool that you say you're from Statesville, because my girlfriend is also from Statesville. So
she might know where the jail is.
Yeah, maybe. I think when I told her about you, she, I think, had sort of knew of you. I think she's like friends with your boyfriend or something on Facebook. Okay. And that's kind of how she had like seen some of your posts before and stuff like that. But she lives in Moxville now. But yeah, she's from Statesville as well. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So. Shout out Nick's girlfriend. So if we kind of read over your website and your bio, just kind of to see how you got into some stuff, but before our viewers, can you tell us a little bit about yourself or just anything you're interested in or things like that?
Yeah, man. So, I always get bad at this, but I'm gonna try to, try to say it expressively,
no
but, my name is Dani Kerr, of course. Like we said, born and raised in Statesville. As a kid, I really got into music. When I was really young, I kind of just fell in love with it, and had this big dream of being a performer one day after listening to My Chemical Romance when I was 6 years old.
Really?
Yes.
That's cool. That's cool because that's one of my favorite bands. So
nice.
That's really
and they're
cool.
So good. They're so good and so underrated.
Glad they're playing again.
Yeah, right? Oh my gosh. I tried to get tickets the first show that they came back with, but of course that sold out in like 45 seconds. It's ridiculous.
Gerard looks like he's having so much more fun than he did back then.
Right.
Oh
man, it's so cool. And man, I thought that moment would never come, and it broke my heart. So yeah, when I was 6 years old, I started getting into them. The Black Parade album had just come out. Previously, before that, my musical influences kind of came from my dad, with Leonard Skinner and the Allman Brothers and Charlie Daniels, Marshall Tucker, Hank Jr., all that.
Awesome.
So I was super shy as a kid, never done it in front of anybody, but I would like set up a camera in my room and record myself and dress up like Gerard in the Black Parade and like learned every one of his movements in the video. And
I love it though, but still like that's a thing. So I, not to date myself too much, but do you mind if I ask how old you are? Because you said it came out when you were 6.
Yeah. So now I'll be 23 tomorrow. Actually,
23.
Wow.
That's
my birthday.
Happy early birthday.
I feel
Thank
old.
you guys.
Well, and the reason I say that is just because like I felt like I think the Black Parade came out when I was like in middle school. So I'm 29.
Like 2005, 2006.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So I may have just entered middle school, maybe. I don't know.
Nice.
How old was I in 2005? I can't do math.
You were old then.
Well, I would have been about 13. Something
Nice.
like that, I think. So
yeah, we're old guys. So.
Well,
So
like
old.
I say, just getting to the 30. Oh my gosh, like it's coming quick. But
30
that
scares me.
That in general, just like so dressing like Gerard, like when you say that, like were you going suit Gerard, or were you doing the whole Black Parade with the marching band sort of stuff, or
The whole Black Parade with I actually had this
makeup
and I had this jacket that kind of had the same like marching band kind of stripes on it, like he
Yeah.
wears in the video. And I played softball, so I took my softball gloves. I don't know why. I don't know
Softball
why I would
gloves?
wear those in the video, but
Oh, okay. Well, you were just dress up. It's just dress
yeah,
up, you know.
I was like, this works, looks close enough.
So
Of
would you
course,
say
I
that that
used my
was?
sister's camera.
Oh,
Yeah.
She was
okay, yeah.
5 years older than me, so she made fun of me. But
Oh no, no. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
thank you, man.
you were above your time because like at 6 years old, I can't imagine a 6-year-old when I was listening to My Chemical Romance, like a 6-year-old getting into that music at that time.
Right?
Like,
It's pretty wild. And I really like. I would make myself memorize the lyrics and memorize the movements, and
that's so
um,
cool.
it was. It's
So that was
still
your
it's
practice almost.
right.
It's like
Yeah.
it was getting you going, prepared for what you're gonna be doing,
Right.
basically.
Right.
Would you say that this
Yeah.
was like your scene phase, if there was one?
Oh gosh. Oh man.
Yeah, I had the swooping hair. I guess I could probably still do it. But I had the hair over the eye.
Oh yeah.
I didn't. I
Man.
think I dyed my hair blue. I think that's as close as
I
got.
did too.
Dyed
It's
a hair
like-
blue.
Yeah.
I had blue hair and black diamond. I
I
remember,
remember that. Yeah.
That was I cut a little bit off of the bangs when I was in black diamond. I didn't have
Nice.
quite the over the eye thing then, but
The little swoop.
It looked
Yeah,
cool.
man. I did it. Well, I guess from the time that I went through a lot of phases, but I was kind of like into like the whole skater thing when I was
Yeah.
like 6 to 10, 12. And then in middle school, I was a little bit of everything. But then by the end of middle school, start of high school, I mean, it was like full blown scene kid, like big poofed up hair with the layers and the random color strips and the black
Insurance.
eyeliner. And oh man, skinny jeans and Vans and
Skinny jeans,
Converse and band
Vans.
tee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole 9 yards.
But that's not a bad thing though. That's
Yeah, I'm
really
not
not a
regretful.
bad thing.
No.
That's
It
what
was just, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like when I listen to that music now, I feel like I get all these looks, and I'm like, nah, you're just missing out.
Right, you
This
just-
was good stuff.
Yeah.
You had to be there. It was just a phase, Mom. It was just a phase.
Yeah, it was just a fade, and it was all right. And it was
Right?
all right.
Because
There's worse
what
out
you do
there.
now is
Definitely worse
totally different than what the whatever the My Chemical Romance stuff like back in the day. So
Yeah.
I guess you could say it was just a phase, but that doesn't mean that you still love the music any less or anything either. So
Oh God, right? Yeah. See, the music stuck. I guess all the
the look.
dressing that
Yeah.
was definitely the the phase
Well,
part.
and I think just in what I've seen of like you live play and stuff, because you definitely, this was actually one of my questions. You definitely have a wardrobe, like you've got a
Yeah.
look. You've got a look
Thank
that
you,
you
man.
do, and I think that was what Steph was talking about. My girlfriend, she was just going like, I just love her clothes, I love her everything, her style, her everything. And I was just like, yeah, it's very cool, but I can kind of see where even though the scene thing was a thing, you know, still the whole just the whole get up is that's reminiscent of that kind of rock world, or glam or whatever you want to call it. That's I don't want to call it exactly gimmicky, but like just that style.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that you still carried that with you, whether it was scene style or kind of more Southern rock style,
Yeah. Yep. And definitely the performance too. I was so enthralled with Gerard's performance, even more so than his vocals back then,
Yeah.
like his live vocals, which were great, but the
I
way
think he's a lot better now than he was personally.
yeah, I think he's
his vocal work has tremendously gotten better. But as far
Yeah.
as like you were saying, like putting on a show, he's going to blow your mind.
I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like he was one of those singers that just pushed it to the limits in the studio.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
because
And
you
couldn't
you-
perform it
like
live.
yeah, like 'cause, I mean, I've tried to sing like Welcome to the Black Parade before, and I'm like, goodness gracious,
Yeah.
this is crazy.
That was that
But-
world. Like everybody pushed it to the limits in the studios those days.
it was
Taking Back
magic.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Taking Back Sunday is one of my favorites, but like you could literally hear something they recorded and go, God, there's so much in that, and then go watch a live video and you're just like, he's struggling. He's
Yeah.
struggling.
Well, that's not even just solely related to the scene phase too. I mean, like you could say the same about like Robert Plant you know.
Oh,
Sometimes.
gosh, yeah.
Because like in the later
Sometimes.
70s, you could tell that he was really starting to tone it down a little bit live, you know.
You got to get that one. As long as it's on the record, that's
Yeah,
all that matters.
that's all that matters,
Doesn't
really.
matter what you do live at that point.
Yeah.
Just put on a show.
Well, because like she was saying earlier, and like my dad's told me this before, like when you go to see a big, like a band, like especially a famous band, like live and everything, like you're almost going for like the spectacle, for the to see them,
The physical,
you know.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
not, I mean, you want them to sound decent and everything, but you know, I think it's just incredibly important just to be seeing them, like, because they're like in your vicinity. I mean, they're literally
They're
a few
close.
feet from you, you know.
Yeah.
So some of these people that you idolize and everything. So I think that's the big thing about a live performance, you know, because musicians a lot of the times live they're not going to be nowhere near as perfect as they were in the studio, right?
But it is
So-
great when they are, though.
yeah.
It is great when they are. If they got the whole package. Which I was listening to some of your covers, like the you had some like live covers. I'm trying to remember. I think it was what is it? I can't think of that song now. It's left my brain. But I was like just looking at your coat and stuff and just watching it move like as you're performing, and I'm just like, this is so cool. So I'm gonna have to
Thank
come
you,
check
man.
you out live. Like, well, and Steph was gonna make me anyways.
I was I was telling my dad the other night. So like that's when we you know I first met you was when, like I said, you opened up for Terrible Twos one time, and that's the band I play in with my dad. And I was telling him that you were going to be on the podcast, and then I was like, you know, I can maybe you remember, but like I cannot for the life of me remember the name of the place that it was at.
Oh, the place y'all played?
It was.
I think it was Baggers.
Was it
Yeah.
Baggers?
Baggers.
Okay,
I think
you're probably right.
That sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar. That was the only time we've played there. But it was one of those things that like Wayne Penix from Biker Trash Nation put together, and you know, I think he had said that somebody was going to open for us, you know, and I don't know if we fully knew who it was or whatever, and then she came in with just her guitar in a hand and got up there and played by
So you
herself.
just did it by yourself.
It was a solo. Yeah, it was just total solo. And
That's awesome.
I was like standing there, I was like, man, this girl's got like the whole, you know, like old school Southern rock gypsy thing going on. It's like a mixture of like Janis Joplin and like the Ronnie Van Zant, you know.
Ronnie Van Zant.
Kind of that, you know.
I can see that. Yeah, you've got a lot. You've got a lot going on. I'm excited to hear the EP for
Oh,
sure.
for
Thank
sure,
you,
yeah.
guys. Thank
most
you, man.
definitely.
I'm excited.
I did want to ask, because I was reading on your bio too. I wanted to ask you a little bit. Maybe you could elaborate a little more about the medical condition that you said on the bio that you had when you were a kid. I guess a young kid. Had something to
Yeah.
do with the roof of your mouth or something like that.
Yeah, so it's called cleft palate, and a lot of people that have cleft palate, they'll also have cleft lip. So if you've ever seen somebody that you can tell looked like they had their lip split, and it's
Oh, okay. I think
like
I know
on
what
the
you're talking
outside.
about.
yeah.
So
And so
it's
luckily
kind of
I didn't
related.
have that. And what it is basically all of that just doesn't develop when you're in the womb. And so
okay.
I was born with it. So to kind of put it in a visualization way, it's going to sound kind of gross, but if you thought of
You're
like,
good.
so if I drank milk as a baby, there was nothing separating like my nose from my mouth. All of that was just open.
Oh.
It was all open. So like milk would come out of my nose. Like there was nothing
Yeah.
separating my mouth from
Nothing
my nasal.
stopping it from moving or anything.
Right. And so I've had, oh gosh, I can't remember. It's like, I think 6 surgeries I ended up having to have from the time that I was a newborn to I think 2 years old to repair all of that. So what they have to do, they actually have to like stretch the skin from either side of your mouth and kind of just sew it shut. So
Oh, okay. So what was there? Basically, they're just trying to pull it and sew it and pull it and sew it and pull it and sew it.
and
to
put
create.
it together, yeah, so that it's, you know, fully formed. And luckily I haven't had any problems out of it later in life, but
That's
as a kid, due to that, and just kind of the way that it was, I had a very nasally voice, and I still do. So as a kid, I really got picked on for the way that I talked, um, which made me super shy to even, I didn't want to talk to people, you know. I
Yeah.
also had problems hearing when I was, I think, 2 years old. They took me in to do my hearing test, and I didn't hear anything that was going on.
Oh
So I
no.
had like tubes in my ears, and so I was in speech therapy, like trying to fix all that.
Yeah, and it's hard
Um,
to fix that if you can't hear.
yeah,
So, do
yeah,
you
and
think
so
that
that
was
was,
related, or just kind of a whole separate? I've had hearing issues my entire life too. So,
yeah. I
um,
think, you know, I'm not exactly sure if the two were related as far as like cause and effect.
yeah.
I had a really rough, apparently I came into this world really rough and early and premature, so I
Oh,
think
okay.
that was probably, to sum it up, a lot of the issue there.
Yeah.
But like I
Sometimes
said,
nature just tells you to come.
yeah,
It does.
it's like
You ain't got
you
a
got to get out
choice. You just
now.
gotta get out of there.
Time to go. And so yeah, it was like it was really hard as a kid because I was very creative. Like I said, I really loved to sing, but I wasn't necessarily good at it for a while because I naturally couldn't hear what I was doing.
Yeah.
So over time, I just had to find different ways to hear myself sing and to kind of know what note I'm on just by
Yeah.
feeling, you know, too. And not to say that I can't hear completely, but it definitely was a struggle there for my younger years.
I'm sure. And with learning, I guess how to sing with those that kind of that going on, that I've heard a lot of people that are deaf that do learn
Hmm.
to sing or learn to play an instrument. It's typically vibration based. Like as
Yeah.
long as you're touching or feeling, like a lot of people like touch the inside of their mouth, like or the side
Hmm.
of their mouth or throat to try to feel that vibrate. Do you think that sort of kind of helped you tune things, or is it you just kind of were just trying stuff just to see what worked and what didn't? Or
Yeah, I was really mostly just trying stuff. I think in like my later years of singing, the past few years, I've relied on the feeling a
okay,
lot more because I've learned how to sing properly.
yeah,
Only this past year, really, I really started to actually look into how I'm supposed to be doing things because I was running into a problem of like blowing my voice out, and I was like, well, that's
yeah,
not going to last. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I want to
And
be able to do this for, I don't know, a lifetime. I better fix that.
right.
So
I've
that's
kind of
kind of helped me
experienced the
too.
same thing a little bit. It just
yeah. Nick get done with a gig and he's just like can't talk.
and it's like, I've kind of like maybe like I've went a long time, especially with singing. With like my dad being a guitar player, he taught me how to play my first stuff on guitar when I first started. But as far as singing goes, like I, it was more or less a thing that I just did out of necessity. Like when, because not everybody else wanted to sing or do something like that, and I could
And I'm
kind
not
of
a great singer.
I could kind of do it well enough, and so I think I developed pretty well over the years, but I've went so long being untrained. I've only
Hmm.
ever taken like one singing lesson. It was a couple of years ago, and it was very overwhelming, all the stuff the guy was a good teacher and everything, but he threw so much information at me in like just an hour. I mean, and it was a lot, a lot of breathing exercises, some scales, but I've learned that one thing that helps me a lot, and I've started doing it the last couple of weeks again, is I'll get up in the mornings and I'll go for a jog,
Hmm.
just and stuff like that. I think
Staying
one of the most
active.
important things about your keeping your vocals right is just making sure your lungs are healthy, making sure they're
Yeah.
in shape. I think that's probably one of the big things, because I've found here lately I have issues when I'm singing, like just keeping my breath,
Hmm.
especially when I'm hitting higher and longer notes. It's harder for me to hold those out than they used to be. So
Hmm.
I'm trying to figure that out, and but I feel like the best way to do it is just honestly just keep your lungs in shape. Stay away from the cigarettes.
Yeah.
Not that I smoke, but
Yeah. Well, so with you, I know you said you're kind of taking that more seriously. Just trying
Hmm.
to figure. So, do you have an instructor of some sort, or is it something that you're kind of taking, someone else's, I don't know what to say, maybe criticism to try to help you, or, something like that, or... Oh, I think we lost her.
Hello?
Danny, if you're with us, I think we lost you. That's not good.
Prepare to get disarranged.
She may have just kind of let this go on. She, if your internet goes out on Zoom, I've had that happen before. Like when, well,
it'll
mostly
cut you
work,
off. Yeah.
when she comes. I think we lost you.
There you go.
You're back.
Sorry about that. We can thank Spectrum for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think. I was like, one of our internets has dropped. That's exactly what's happened.
Yep.
Um,
It happens all the time nowadays. So aggravating.
Yeah.
and God forbid if you have to call them. So
Yeah.
Right. Oh my gosh.
to
Yeah.
call Spectrum,
You're
it's
just,
terrible.
you better just wait it out at that.
yeah. So I don't know if you had caught that, but I was kind of asking, did you had some sort of instructor, or were you trying to kind of do it on your own, kind of like you did with, I guess, guitar and instruments and things like that?
Yeah, so I actually got turned on to this guy that does like kind of virtual videos, and he uploads them.
Okay.
My drummer actually turned me on to him. His name is Ken Tamplin.
Oh, I've heard of Ken.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard
yeah,
of Ken.
man, and
Yeah.
he's that really helped me. Bo, my drummer, had actually bought the whole lesson thing.
Yeah.
It was like on a USB drive, and he bought it, and it goes like through the lessons one by one. And to be honest, I want to get further on it, because now I'm kind of at the point where I've figured out where it should come from.
Yeah.
And realizing that like keeping stress off of my throat is really the most important thing. And so I started watching him, and ultimately, I mean, immediately I was able to make it through, 3 band gigs in a weekend and still be able to talk, which was
That's
really
awesome.
impressive.
Yeah.
So Ken,
and,
Ken gig
hearing-
works, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
It works.
it really does. The way he describes it, because for me, and Nick, I know that you teach lessons, so when you're teaching an instrument, or most instruments anyways, you've got like the direct key that you're supposed to push, or you've got the fret that shows you where your finger goes, like with your vocal cords.
Right.
You can't just tell somebody, here, hit this fret and that's that
Yeah.
note. You've got to
Yeah.
find some way to explain what it's supposed to feel like and where the pressure is supposed to
Right.
be. And I think he does a really good job at doing that.
Huh.
That's awesome.
I'll have to maybe look into that
Yeah,
a little
Ken,
bit.
well,
I feel like
Ken
I
was
did.
almost Motley Crue's singer, if I'm not mistaken, in the 90s.
Wow.
He's done a lot.
Yeah.
I would believe
I
that.
think he wanted to be more of a guitar player, and that's why he didn't take the job. Like, he was like, nah, I'm just going to do my solo thing where I can play guitar and sing, but if he joined Motley Crue, he would have just been the singer. So it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know if I'm more of a guitar player, and then it turns out he's a better singer than he is guitar player.
Yeah, man, Motley Crue would be in a lot better shape.
They
if
probably
he
would have
that
been.
went that
They
way,
probably
though.
would have been. But also too, there's a fella named Anthony Vincent that I watch on YouTube that I absolutely love. I fell in love
Shout
with him.
out.
Yeah, he was originally 10-second songs. Yeah, I've shown him.
Oh
to
yeah,
you.
yeah.
He was originally that, and then he self-named, and I think in a way that kind of hurt him, but at the same time, I like that he's kind of happier with his content now.
Yeah.
He's in a happier place versus like trying to one up himself every week or something like that. But I
Right.
know he over like a 3-year span, like he got really good really quick. And
Nice.
just where he could just hit anything, he
Yeah.
can do the Janis Joplin voice. He can hit all these crazy highs that, he couldn't do before. But also too, it helped his lows, and it helped, he does a lot of metal vocal too. So that kind of grit
Nice.
metal vocal. So when you're doing kind of that sort of stuff, he said the singing part kind of helped him control that even more, just because he kind of knew what he was doing. But I knew he took from Ken. I just, never thought about it. But maybe I need to get it.
I think I looked him up or inquired about him giving me lessons one time. At the time, I think when he replied to me, it was like very unaffordable for me at the time.
Okay.
Like I just couldn't I couldn't pay for it or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what he charges now or whatever, but
Well, she's saying just get the course.
oh, okay,
That's what
okay.
she's
Okay.
saying. Just
I guess
buy the course.
I think I was maybe inquiring for actual like
Oh, like personal lessons.
personal lessons. Yeah. So.
Yeah, if you got money to throw at it, man, hey, evidently it works. So
Right? Yeah.
So if in the past couple of years, like, can you? I mean, I'll be honest with you. A lot of the stuff I saw from you was very recent. So do you think that, like, compared now back then, do you think there's been a humongous change, or it's just been incremental to kind of, help you? Or
I would say, yeah, there's been a
it's
huge,
massive
change. Not only in like just range ability, but even tone wise, I guess. Getting into my early 20s, I've the tone of my voice has changed, and it's, also been through some shit in my early 20s. So that had some soul to it too,
you live.
So it blows my mind really how far it has come in such a short time. I mean, I just started playing guitar a little over 5 years ago. So
Really,
and it's just and
you've only been playing 5 years. Well, I think your guitar playing is great too. So
thank you. It's getting there. Man, I used to like chop on that thing like I was like chopping wood. Man. It was, and people still came out and they supported and like clapped back then. So really, I think I owe a lot of the progress and improvement to so many people in my community that really just really supported what I did, even when I know it wasn't very good. They still stood there and clapped anyway. So
well, you have I mean, you just have a persona. You know,
it's like a charisma sort of thing.
Yeah.
That kind of draws people to you.
Right. So I mean, but that's not to say like you have. I mean, ever since I've known about you, I've always thought you were really good musically. So I mean, to have both the charisma and the musical ability that you do, I mean, that's the whole package right there.
Yeah, that's
right?
all you need.
So, thank you.
That's all you need.
Thank you, man. Thank you, guys.
We expect big things. We expect big things.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Well, aside from music, though, I remember one time, and I joined in on this live feed that you did one time. You were making like some teriyaki sauce or something like that. So apparently you said, I think you
teriyaki sauce.
You said that you went to culinary school, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that.
So I graduated high school at 16, and at that time.
You said
I barely got out of there.
You said, "Fuck this place."
I barely got out of there.
I swear, I was like, I ended up skipping a whole grade because I was just in a bad position. But I was academically, I was a really smart kid, you know, all throughout school. And I was like, man, I got to get out of here or I'm not going to graduate. And barely did it even then. So I got lucky, I guess. Cheated the school system. I don't know.
Hey, as long as you graduated, that's all that matters.
That piece of paper.
It really does not matter.
My mom always told me that a C doctor is still a doctor. That's what my mom always said. But anyways, so you went to culinary
after
school.
That, I went to Johnson and Wales University there in Charlotte.
Okay.
And I still do, absolutely loved culinary arts, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I went there. It was pretty expensive, of course, but I mean, definitely worth it. But I got about halfway through my program and I had started to get like a few paid gigs, and music had just kind of started like quickly picking up. And I'd always known that was my like surreal dream to do, was to be a musician. So I had to make the really hard decision of dropping culinary school to pursue music more full time. Yeah. And but I'm still happy that I have the skills to cook at home, and I definitely do a lot of cooking at home, and it's a lot less stressful, I will say that.
So if me and Austin were to be invited to your house to eat dinner one night, what would you make?
That's a great question.
Ooh. Probably.
And I'm not picky either, so I will probably eat anything you make.
Nah, I will eat it. Especially if it's
probably either some kind of alla vodka pasta or Tuscan chicken.
Okay.
What I specialized in was like Italian cuisine, and sauce making was really
Sauce making. That's a hard art, by the way.
it really is. I mean, you would assume that it's fairly easy because I mean it's just it's just sauce, but it's almost like a chemistry experiment, putting the right things in to get the right texture, the right flavor, all
Make
that.
sure it doesn't blow up
so
in your
I'm
face.
really yeah. Put it in the
I'm
oven
now
that blows
hungry,
up because you
so-
put baking soda.
Yeah,
in it
now
or
Nick's
something.
hungry, even though he just ate before. Just to throw you under the bus. So that's very interesting. So basically, you love cooking, but at the time it was just like music's moving more. So it's now's the time to jump on it while it's moving, basically.
Yeah, and it kind of was just like I kind of felt just called to do it. It wasn't really a hard decision because I was like, man, I feel like this is genuinely what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right.
I could have went, and I was very successful in culinary school. Like, did great. Was in like kind of the top of my class there, but I just knew that it was the right way to go with music.
Yeah.
Do you ever think you'll go back, like to kind of finish, or is that something you can do in culinary school? I don't.
At this point, I really don't see it.
Yeah.
I mean,
When you're
I'm
young,
not
too,
opposed to it. Yeah, I'm not opposed to it, but yeah, music has just taken full force. I mean, it's my full-time job. It's 7 days a week. So my producer told me one time, because I was like, man, if I don't make it in music, I'll just be a stagehand or something like that. And he was like, no, there's no plan B. You have plan A and you're doing that. And I was like,
All right.
There you go.
all right, cool,
But
let's do it.
I've always been one to be really bad about thinking about, like, okay, well, here's plan B, here's plan C. I've got all my backups. If something goes wrong, and it's good to have backups. But I've noticed too, because here recently I kind of made a big swap in my profession, which is really just more of like getting away from the desk job. That's basically what I had to decide. It's like, okay, it's going to be my happiness or the consistency of this desk job,
Right.
So and there was like things I could do, but there was no real like road, to once because I teach too. I teach guitar too, but I also, here recently I've been doing a lot of graphic design. This podcast started, things like that,
Nice, yeah.
And just as things have gone on, I've, found gigs or something to make me money to keep the bills
Right.
paid,
Oh yeah.
but again, in doing that, there's really not a plan B. Like with me doing
Right.
it was just like, no, I'm just going to work for myself, and I'm
Right.
not
Yeah.
going to deal with the boss anymore.
We've all made that decision. I
Yeah.
made that decision in 2019. I had like a day job where I was like working in a printing factory and stuff, and I hated it. And one day, I was just like, you know what? I think I've got enough clientele for students and stuff like that. I'm just gonna go ahead and quit. And because like you said earlier, like there's plenty of things that I can be pretty decent at and stuff like that. But I mean, and I'm not the greatest musician in the world, but I feel like music is what I was put on this earth to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's when I made the jump, and been pretty successful, I would say, in the last 3 years that I've been doing it. I'm not rich by any means, or don't have a big house or anything,
Yeah.
but it still beats getting up every day and doing something like the desk job.
I think it's the way I feel about it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not looking to get rich. I'm just looking to live and be happy. Like, that's all I
Exactly.
want to do.
And man, being able to work for yourself, as you guys know, I mean, it is worth anything that comes with it. And y'all know it gets hard at times, but I feel like once you, in your mind and in your actions, once you decide like that's what I'm going to do, it's kind of like the universe finds a way to make it work. Like if you stay dedicated,
Yeah.
like you'll pick up new clients that you had no idea about a
exactly
week
right.
ago.
I mean, like, because I feel that way sometimes. Like, man, like work's it's starting to slow down a little bit, but if now you can't just kind of sit around and wait for it to happen. I mean, you have to sort of, get up and make it happen yourself, but if you continue to do that, like you said, it always just seems to come to you, if you're putting in the effort. And
so I'm what 2 months in, 3 months in?
Yeah.
3 months in of not working a desk job. And I'll be honest, I do feel like I work more than I ever did.
Yep.
But in a way, I'm happier about it.
Yeah.
Like that's the weird thing is like I feel like I'm working harder and I'm doing more, but I'm not so the monogamy's not there. I think that's what you call it.
Yeah.
Monotonous. Just the
monotony.
I don't know. The monotony. There you go. Not monogamy. Monotony. But anyways, the desk job, I really appreciate the job I had because it did me good for the time I needed it. But like I can't imagine what people go through right now in customer service. I've been away from it for 3 months. I can't imagine how much it's changed because I noticed it was changing week to week there for a while where it was just like, the type of people that were calling and things like that. Like it just got so out of hand so quickly. But yeah, I'm appreciative of it, but I'm glad I'm away from it myself. But but for you, doing well in culinary school, you must have really saw the light when that opportunity
I did, and it
popped
was
up.
And it wasn't even like I had really, it wasn't even like I had been doing anything super extraordinary. But I just kind of, I don't know. It was weird because it was almost like a preface the future. And I was like, no, this is it. This is the way to go. I'm going to put all my chips in this. Yeah. And, shortly after I made that decision, just talking about, whenever you decide to do it, everything kind of just sets in for you. Shortly after I made that decision, I was working, funny enough, at Olive Garden, and I was a saute chef there.
Okay.
And, saute cook, I'll say. I wasn't a chef there, but saute cook on the line. And I got a call on one Sunday. And some Sundays at Olive Garden were so bad. I mean, I'm a pretty tough, hard worker, but sometimes it was just so bad that I would literally have to cry, sitting on pasta or in the cooler somewhere, just because it was miserable.
Letting it happen.
And so, one day I got a phone call when I was at work, and I stepped away from the line, and it was a friend of mine, and he was like, "Hey, you got a minute?" And I was like, "Sure." And he's like, "Well, these people, they really like what you're doing and they really want to work with you. And those people are the same people I'm working with now. They're part of my team that we've kind of built." And it was kind of one of those things where I knew when he said that they wanted to work with me, I knew it was going to change everything. It was going to kind of bust the doors open. And that was one of those moments that I was like, okay, I know I did the right thing. We're on the right path here.
Yeah. The opportunity came and you were there to answer it. I think.
Yep. It was like, I'm free. Let's do it.
I think that's the thing that I'm finding out as I'm doing this, because it's just like that. Like for example, like last week, I just got a random call the Sunday before the week started. And it was my uncle, and he was just like, "Hey, I need a bass player for this gig. Can you learn such and such songs by Tuesday?" And I was like, "Okay." And then I just did it, and then just made quick money. Nice. And I was just like, I would have never been able to say yes to that. And there's no way that I would have made that amount of money at my job during that day.
Time.
And another thing too, it's like I was telling him the other day, as far as deep in, and you especially, Danny, too, probably as deep as we've gotten into, just being a kind of a quote unquote freelance musician, it would almost be impossible to go back to a day job in a sense, because our schedules are so whack, and so now it's like we have to make it work.
There's only one way to do it.
But the funny thing is I've made more money, being a a freelancer than I ever did working a job, whether it was at the printing companies or, I used to work in the fast food service industry and stuff like that. Yeah, I've like in the past couple of years, I've made more money than I ever did before. So it's just how much it's how much work you're willing to kind of put in.
Yeah, I do feel like it's a lot more work.
How much hustle you want to do, because it's a weird thing, right? Because you get up to go to work at a day job, you feel like you're working hard, but you hate the work, so it's like you're not putting in. You're doing just enough, and so
right,
just enough,
and you're really just wasting all that time that you could be putting into what you actually, what your actual goals are and what you want to do individually.
Exactly.
Right.
Instead of doing it for somebody else's dream, which I realize that they need people to work for them to get their dream. And
when some people
there's
are
certain
content
people
with doing that for the rest of their lives, but like especially if you're a musician and ever want to be anywhere, it's hard to pawn off your time to somebody like that. It's really hard to.
Right. And it just, when you're a creative person, you could spend 8 hours a day just being creative and finding new ways to play or learning new material or to write. All that time to be able to do that. It elevates everything you're doing. So I won't say easily, but fairly quickly when you don't have that time that you have to spend somewhere else at another job. Plus your energy, you have a whole lot more energy towards it too,
you're more,
which is always
a little
good.
more passionate.
A little more passionate about what you're doing. And like we were talking last week with Ethan, he was kind of expressing the same things, and what he's doing, he's basically a full-time animator now. He did, he was the director and videographer for all of our Norm videos.
Nice. Those turned out great. He's awesome.
He's an incredible dude. And just for a one-man thing, like that was what was insane, is he was doing it all himself and just letting us know what to do, basically. Which I think he's getting more out of, so he's doing more animation, but that's kind of his passion, is the animation thing. But it's kind of the same way with him. He's saying if he's got time off or something like that during the week, like there's just no job to be had or nothing to do, then he's going to spend that time learning something that's going to make him money down the road.
Yeah.
And you can't do that when you got a day job. You just can't. There's just no time. There's no time.
I don't know about you guys. I'm sure you feel the same way, but it was like whenever I had to work a day job and then go play a gig, it was like the gig was significantly less energetic and passionate.
It's hard.
Than
it's exhausting.
Not having to come from work.
Yeah, your brain's already gone. Well, especially like I can sort of imagine, because I managed a Domino's for a long time, so I can't imagine exactly what Olive Garden was like. But I know what like kind of working in a kitchen can be like, sort of.
Yeah.
And with that, it's more of just kind of like all your short-term memory that you've contributed to everything, that's gone for me, like in that position. But when I was working, the more of the desk job, I was having to retain all this state insurance information that I was helping people with. So it was like, by the end of the day, I've flipped through all of those books that, not really physically, but like that I've put in my head, and I'm going, my brain just doesn't. It just doesn't. It doesn't want to do anything else. It wants to sit on the couch and zone out and not think about anything. Because if I have to think about one more thing, I'm going to snap.
Right.
I'm going to snap.
Too much.
But especially too, when I guess for me and kind of learning this and feeling things out, I feel like I'm a lot happier as a person, just individually. And I think to me that is the most important part. As long as I can pay my bills, I ain't gotta be rich. As long as I can pay my bills and I'm happier, I'm good. My dog's fed, we're good.
That's everything.
That's everything.
That's everything, really, literally.
Well, it is
all you need.
7:00 now, Danny. So are we keeping you?
Yeah, should we keep you, or you need to go?
I'll probably have about 5 to 10 more minutes if there's anything you guys want to chat about.
Keep chatting. And you just cut us off whenever you're ready.
Guys, shut up! I gotta go
right.
make
I gotta
beautiful music.
I gotta leave. So we've sort of kind of touched upon how you got into music and things like that, but I kind of wanted to ask, especially having that disability, why singing? Like what? I feel like guitar would come first. Like that's kind of what I felt like, is like you were playing instruments first and then singing along with them. But if you were already singing first, that's very interesting.
You know, I really don't know how it came first. It's kind of weird looking back. When I was younger, I just took to it so much. And like I said, I think it was a lot of the performance aspect that I really loved too.
Okay.
Because I ended up getting into theater arts, not as an actor, because I was like, I'll never be on the stage. I'm going to be behind the stage.
That's the way my
so
girlfriend
I did theater
was.
tech.
She's a theater major.
And I was like,
so.
I was like, I can't do it. That's just too much. I have too much stage fright. But you know, I wonder that too sometimes. I wonder where it all came from.
I know when I was a kid, I mean, I don't know. I was into some of the Disney films and stuff. A lot of them were musicals. I don't know. Did you think maybe it had something to do with seeing stuff on TV or movies or something like that?
You know, like I said, I draw it all back to literally, I mean, watching My Kim and listening to Ronnie Van Zant's voice and the Allman Brothers, listening to their lyrics. And I don't know. It was almost like it was predetermined before I even had a chance to think about.
It was just going to be.
And as a kid, I remember seeing these visions of myself on these stages, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I'm just going to sit out here on my trampoline and pretend I'm there. You know,
get prepared.
It was just it came on very naturally, and so. The first instruments I ended up playing, I played flute in middle school.
Okay.
And kind of loosely played around with a couple other band instruments, but mainly flute. And then I got to the point where I was like, well, I would really like to accompany singing somehow. So I learned a little bit of piano, just enough to sing with at the time. And then it wasn't until I'll back up. I had gotten a guitar when I was 6, around the same time that I started getting into music, really wanted to play. I had gotten Guitar Hero, and I was like, Slash is my guitar hero. I want to be like him one day. And so my parents got me an electric guitar and a really nice vintage Fender amp that I wish I still had, but I didn't know what I had.
Mm-hmm.
Don't we? Well, I think we've all had that situation of not knowing what we had, letting it go.
Yeah. And man, I tried for, I guess it was 11 years. I tried to learn guitar, never made sense to me. I didn't understand what I was supposed to be doing on it. But when I was 17, I was going through I guess a little heartbreak, and I was moved out at the time. And actually I ended up moving my older sister in with me, and we worked together too. And I was like, man, I just want to get drunk tonight. You know, I was like, I don't even know what that means, but I just want to get drunk, you know? And she was like, well, okay, I'll get some Jaeger, whatever.
Jaeger, so, all right.
That's my drink.
Yes.
Jaeger.
I love it.
Honestly, this was a great memory of Jaeger. I don't have one of those horrible memories. I have the memory of the guitar making sense when I was drunk on Jaeger. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Well, that's like if I'm drinking with Nick, we drink Jaeger.
I've actually,
that's what we drink.
I've never had a bad experience with Jaeger. Now, like Captain Morgan, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had a time with Captain Morgan.
I think we all have had a time with Captain. I think the only reason we ever got Captain Morgan is because we knew everybody at the party would drink it.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily because it was good. We just knew everybody would drink it.
Yeah.
Right.
But so that's really cool. So guitar more or less was like kind of your last instrument, even though you got one early.
Yeah. It took me. I mean, I've messed around on a fiddle here in the past few years. Not as much this past year, but I mean, I even picked the fiddle up way quicker than guitar.
That's
and
incredible.
It was like,
I struggled.
Why did it take me that long?
Yeah, fiddle
That's
is
so
not
hard.
not my forte by any means.
If you don't do it regularly too, Because like if you do it regularly, you'll build up the muscle memory. But the moment that you don't pick it up a few times a week, you got to start from square one. And it's just so hard.
I'm right now. I'm trying to focus. Well, I've been doing some singing too, just trying to get better at it. Not because I think I can do it. It's just my kind of like y'all were talking about. Y'all's voices kind of know what to do, like when you start singing. Like a lot of the times I have to find my pitch. Like I have to, like I'll start singing something and I'm like, that's way off. I need to find the center of the note that I'm needing. But I've been trying to do that, and I've been trying to learn piano and banjo. That's about the two things I've been focusing on right now, personally. But I know if you're used to anything and you go to something else, like I could only imagine going from guitar to fiddle, like, and then, back and forth, it can start to get you confused and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, I think I had another. Before you leave, I did want to ask you about your favorite gig you've ever played, because I think that's the ultimate thing for a musician. They've always got that one that was just incredible.
So actually, this is easy right now. We just played, as a full band, we just played the Lane Tree Live concert series. And you guys should check it out. Such an awesome concert series that goes on in the Lane Tree community, which is right outside of Mooresville, kind of in between Mooresville and Cornelius, Davidson area. But man, I remember going to that concert series, and like when I had first kind of got started playing just solo and doing little stuff, I was like, man, like what a stage to get to play on. In the vicinity of the whole area, there's easily a few thousand people that could be there. And
that's awesome.
We ended up doing it 2 weeks ago. And we showed up to set up at about 4:00, I think. And the show started at 7. And when we got there, there were already almost the whole little lawn area was filled with chairs already set up for people that were going to be there. And I was like, holy shit, this is
here we go.
Because we're kind of up and coming. There's so many good bands in North Carolina, and we're kind of just treading through, new venues and getting into some of the bigger venues and concert series and stuff. And by the time that we started to play, there was probably at least 1,000 people awesome. Directly around
That's
us.
awesome.
And, that was huge for us. We haven't done anything quite like that yet. So, and on top of that, everybody just showed up and played. We were on it. It was smooth. The transitions were awesome. Like everybody on the stage was on fire. It couldn't have. It was one of those shows that could not have been any better.
That's always the best.
That's definitely the one.
And that's really cool too. You have played on stage with a Lynyrd Skynyrd member before, right? Haven't you? Or something? You jumped up on stage with them or something like that?
Yeah. So that was a fun time too. That was actually the first time that I went to go play in Nashville. And I had gotten invited to do it by a couple different people. And so I got there on Wednesday, and I think I was like 19 years old. Didn't really know anybody in Nashville. The guy who invited me to come play, it was the first time I was meeting him, was at this gig.
Okay.
And so I drove there, and I got to the place, and it was a little biker bar called Scully's. And it's not there anymore, unfortunately, but it was outside of Nashville, kind of in the, I think what they call the Old Hickory area. Okay. And I got there, and I had no idea really what was going on. I just knew that I was playing in the middle of whatever band was playing that night. It was a big bike night. And I get there, and I'm talking to some of the locals and that are kind of there. None of the band members are there yet. And they're like, oh, you know Sparky, right? And I was like, no, I can't say I do know Sparky. And they were like, the guy that plays with Lynyrd Skynyrd now. And I'm like, huh? They're like, oh yeah, he's going to be here playing tonight. And I was like, what?
That is awesome.
Right, it was
Had no
amazing.
idea. You just kind of showed
Yeah,
up, and now
Playing with a
and now
Linux
here we
generator.
are. And the drummer, I think he actually played. I think he said he played with Lady Antebellum or some band
okay.
like that. He was
so it's
all
kind
the
of a
guys were
mishmash of
seasoned,
cool musicians.
Yeah.
right? And they kind of just come together and jam on Wednesday nights at this bar, or they did. And there's actually a video of all of us playing, me and Bobby McGee
Oh, that's a great
together.
song
Nice.
too.
Right.
That's
And it
awesome.
was perfect for just the moment and me. And it was, I ended up, Sparky came up to me, as I was playing, or after I got done playing, I mean, and, he was like, "Hey, I really like what you're doing. If you're ever around this way, like, and you need something cut, like, please let me know. I would love to do something with you sometime." And I was like, "Oh, thank you, man." Didn't get any contact info then, of course.
Yeah.
But as we were leaving, they were still playing, and Sparky from the stage was like waving at me, and he was like, leave your number. And I like held up some cards and I left them on the table. I was like, well, he might get them, he might not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we left. And the next morning, I had a text message and an email from him. And I was like,
So you
wow,
made a
that's so
friend.
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's so
And
cool.
I actually, I talked to him probably about, I don't know, 6 months ago or so. I sent him a message and, just touch base with him because I thought I had a couple project ideas in mind that I'd like to do with them.
Yeah.
Just because it'd be cool.
Exactly.
So yeah, that was also a good
That
moment.
is awesome.
Awesome.
That is
Thank you,
incredible. And when you played that that kind of 1,000+ gig, I just wanted to ask this real quick, if you don't mind.
Mhm.
We've played some larger shows, but I don't know if we've ever played for more than 1,000 people. Like it's
Yeah.
always been like maybe between 2, and I think that last gig that Norm played, there was maybe 400-500 people there.
For the Ram Cat
Yeah,
show?
the Ramcat show. It was
Oh,
packed.
nice.
It was shoulder to
That's
shoulder.
an awesome venue.
Yeah, we were opening for Swift
Yeah.
that night.
That was like right before COVID hit.
Yeah.
It was like right before COVID
Nice.
hit that we went out with a bang. And
Well, I mean, we played shows after that.
yeah, but like
they weren't at that
nothing
level,
that large. But I noticed that as I'm playing, like, so if I play a gig for like 20 people, and as the amount of people go up, for some odd reason, I get better or less nervous. Is that a
100%,
thing?
yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So when you saw 1,000 people there, it just made the show better.
Yeah, it was like, I think everybody in the band, like you said, instead of being nervous, it was like we were just more excited.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with what you say because, I mean, I've played like even tiny gigs where there's like 5 people and I feel so much more nervous
Exactly.
then.
Or for me,
Then
that's,
if there's
that's
a
how
whole
I
crowd,
always
yeah.
felt. It's
Yeah.
just it kind of was
Yeah.
like, oh, well, now I've got to deal with these butterflies, and then I'm going to go up there. But it seemed like all the big gigs, like I had no, there was no worries. It was just step up there, do it.
Yep.
Right? That's strange.
Well, I was just curious because I mean, 1,000 people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
Yeah,
so I
it was-
almost feel like just sitting here, like I feel like I would be nervous, but if that's the case, if it just keeps getting better, the more people there are, then yeah, more people, add more people.
Right? Yeah, add them all. Add them all at that point. It's like whoever's around.
Like a
This
power
is
boost.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Well, we don't want to keep you too much longer, but is there anything else you got to ask, Nick?
I think we've covered most everything.
Yeah,
you
you've been awesome. Thank
yeah,
you so much.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having
Yeah.
me. This has been so much
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again for sure.
We'll definitely, hey, everybody, be sure to go check out Dani Kerr's new upcoming EP coming out July 14th, you said?
July 14th.
Yep.
July 14th,
that's it.
Old Jail Sessions. It is sure to, I'm excited as all get out to hear it, and I'm sure it's going
I
to
know
be.
we're hyping this up, but yeah, you got to go listen to it.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Go
man.
listen to it. It'll be on all streaming
Thank you,
platforms, and
guys.
I will link her website and any of her other platforms in the comment or the description with links. So y'all can go check out everything that she is doing and go see her if you're around
Yeah,
in
go
the
see.
area.
Do you
for
have
sure.
any gigs coming up that we can kind of throw out? So this will come out Friday on That's what, the first?
The first.
The first. So it'll come out on the first. So is there anything around then?
Yeah, we definitely have the first we're actually playing, might be a little soon, but I'll go ahead and shout it out there. We're playing at Two Trees in Denver, the full band. I'll try to highlight the full band shows coming up. July 3rd, we're playing at Lake Hickory Scuba and Marina for the 4th of July celebration.
4th of July.
And July 8th, we will be playing in Cornelius at the Second Friday Festival with Rocky Lynn, which is going to be a big one too.
Awesome.
Plenty of
guys.
opportunities
Yes.
for y'all to go see her. But thanks again, and if you would let us, we would love you to come back on.
Yeah,
because we had a great time.
Right,
Thank
Tom,
you. I would love to, and I'll definitely allot some more time for the next time for sure.
It's all
you're good.
We're
You
glad.
need to give us one thing before you go, though. You need to say, "Hi, I'm Dani Kerr," and get disarranged.
All right.
Whenever
Ready?
you're
Whenever
ready.
you're ready.
Hi, I'm Dani Kerr. Okay. I think I
All
got
right.
it. Hi, I'm Dani Kerr. Get disarranged.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Is that
Yes.
good?
Yeah,
That's
yeah. And when the episode comes out, you'll see what happens with that. I just have fun studio times with it. That's what I do.
Nice.
It kind of opens the episode. So, well, thank you so much, and you can.
Absolutely.
Sweet, guys.
We're gonna hang out here since we're recording video, but you're welcome to drop off at any time.
Sounds good, guys. Have fun. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll catch you later.
Have a good one,
Bye-bye.
Dani. See ya.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave the video up since we did this one with video.
Okay, yeah.
It's just gonna record this.
Yeah.
So that way you can see both of us. Since I somehow figured out how to do that, which I think I can edit it too while we're talking.
So what are we gonna do, Blakely? We haven't had a pod with just you and me since episode 1.
I'm so excited actually.
What are we gonna talk about?
This is where it becomes freeform. I'm moving myself around.
Oh gosh,
I'm doing this for editor Austin.
How am I? I'm in this square. How do I get out of this square?
How do I leave? Yeah, I'm just doing that real quick for editor Austin because it just makes life a little bit easier. What is that? Is that the edge of the table? This has got like a dead cell in it or something. You see that flickering?
Yeah,
I don't know what that is. Anyways,
it's there.
but it's there. So so that was Miss Dani Kerr or Carr. Am I saying that right?
I think
Carr?
it's Dani Kerr.
Like Carr.
I've been
drive
saying
a
it
car.
wrong this whole time. I
Yeah.
thought it was Kerr, but
I thought it was Kerr. But she is glorious, by the way. I know kind of the way we had to do today's podcast, you couldn't see her quite as much because of the light and just what we had access to. But she is glorious. Go see her the first opportunity you get. And then just to kind of continue things on, me and Nick, again, as he was saying, we haven't done this kind of freeform without a guest during the podcast since the first episode.
since episode 1.
Since episode 1.
Yeah.
And I think we got into a lot more fun things, but is there anything that you've got kind of on your plate for us, Nick? Or, maybe I can find something?
I don't know, man. I mean, so and Dani, talking about Dani Kerr, she's awesome, and her being so awesome means that she's incredibly busy. So sometimes, sometimes
Life
it's hard. It's hard to remember everything that's going on in life. So we, originally it was planned for her to be with us for the whole time, but then she remembered she had to get going. She had to go to band practice. She had to do her thing, which is totally understandable. So it was we didn't get to plan too much content for this, but
still, it's a conversation between dudes.
yeah,
So we're not gonna leave you just yet.
not yet.
Now
There's nothing really going on. I mean, like there's something. If you're listening to this, this is June. What's today? June the 20.
this will be June.
The 27th.
Yeah, this is the 27th.
Something happened.
It'll come out on July.
Something happened on June 24th. The other day, but I don't know if we should really get into that or not.
Well, I mean, we can. It just. I think it. I think a lot has been said about it.
Yeah.
I think a lot has been said about it, and I think everybody has decided an opinion on how they feel about it. And that's kind of the way I feel about it. Like, does it matter that me and you have an opinion
I feel
on it?
like if somebody didn't love what happened, you saw it on social media. They were voicing their opinions.
Yeah, definitely.
I think people that were more, I guess, in favor of it didn't vocalize it quite as much. I saw some.
Now I saw some. I saw one dude going ham.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I think it's exactly who you think. I saw you smiling over there. I think it's exact. Did you not see any of it?
I don't know.
Oh my God, I might have to.
Maybe if you told me the person, but I don't want to call anybody out.
Yeah. We'll talk about it after the podcast.
Okay.
But yeah, there was a fellow that was trying to get reactions, and he was laughing the entire time. He was trolling. He was trolling hard. Now I'm going to be completely honest. A good portion of what he said was true. That doesn't mean it was nice. So,
well, sometimes the truth hurts. Right?
Yeah, sometimes the truth does hurt, but at the same time, like, it did not change anything. What he was doing is what I'm trying to, and that's kind of what I was trying to get to in conversation with you. Is if we did talk about that what's it going to change? What's it going to do? Like, me and you can't do anything about it. We can talk about how we feel about it, but what's constructive?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like that's kind of how I feel about it. There's no way to fix anything. But also I think it was blown a little bit out of proportion just because of what happened. So have your opinions. That's fine. We'll probably leave it at that just because it's a touchy subject, but also too that both sides feel so hard on it.
Yeah.
Both sides feel so hard on it that it's just not that those are the kind of issues for me that I kind of get lost in. Where it's like I have a way of thinking, like I know I feel this way and I know I feel like a certain thing is right, but then at the same time I'm just like, this issue, people are making it so religious.
Yeah.
Like, even if they're not religious, they're making it so religious that I'm just like, I'm just not about that.
Well, it's more of a
feeling like that over law.
It's kind of like some things. Everything these days becomes political, right?
Yeah.
But this instance of what transpired back on June 24th, really is more or less an issue of, I think, morality, more so than political nature of it.
I think it should be.
Yeah.
I think it should be, but I don't think that's necessarily the truth. But I think like what I'm saying, what should and what he is are two totally different things. Because if, like I said, both sides feel so like they're almost acting like it's religion.
Yeah.
Whether it truly is religion or it isn't religion at all, but they're acting like it's religious. To kind of give you an example, 9/11's a thing that happened. Well, that was retaliation of religion. The terrorist act occurred because religion.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Well, most of
when you feel that hard about something, you're able to go that dramatic. And I don't think it's an issue like that, if that sort of makes sense. But I also, again, who am I?
I pretty much think all of the tragic events of the world were from religion.
A lot of them, man.
World War II was, Hitler hated Jewish people.
Yeah.
And
I think prejudice can cause a lot. Because, just alone, you can think,
slavery.
Yeah, if you think of, I don't know if slavery started out prejudice. To be completely and correct me if I'm wrong, if we've got a viewer, a viewer that knows more about this subject than I do, but I don't think slavery. I don't think or at least slavery in America, where like we had a lot of the black community enslaved that was over here. I don't think it started that way. You know what I mean? I think you just caught slaves. You know what I mean? In those days, you just grabbed whoever you had the opportunity to grab, and then you sold them for money.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just the way it went. But the predominant slave that ended up over here was African American, because England had discovered there were individuals in Africa, you know, and they had their own problems with African tribes and things like that. So I think it became prejudice, but I don't know if I think greed probably started it.
Yeah.
Greed of owning somebody or having that power over somebody. But just, I mean, just in general with World War I, World War II, the war in the Middle East is one of those things where it's like, it depends what started it, but it always ended up about religion.
Yeah.
Like us as Westerners were forcing a life of Westernism on them. And if we didn't, then they were just making shit worse, and they were killing people for being gay and just bull. There's a lot to that where it's like, it may have not started out as religion, and then it turns into a religious meaning for that war, you know. When you feel that strongly about something, you will go to extremes. You will.
Let me ask this, because, you know, I see all the time posts on social media, like, from actual humans, like, you know, we just need to exterminate the human race and stuff like that, you know. But like, so, and I definitely agree, there are terrible humans in the world. But you're talking about like, so other species, animals and stuff like that, you know, the thing that separates, I think, human beings from animals is that human beings actually, for the most part, do have a sense of morality, as where animals don't. They will kill. You know, they don't have religion and everything, so like they'll kill and not even think about what happens to them after they die or something like that. You know,
there's only one other animal that I would say that has morality, and it's a dog.
You think so?
I think dogs do have morality. I think dogs can grow up as wild animals. I think that's a true thing. But I don't like, for example, if Pebbles didn't have any morality, then why would she play with me every night and not bite off my fingers? She has the capability of legitimately taking a finger off me.
Well, maybe not so much towards humans, but just towards other animals. I mean, I've heard of stories all the time of dogs trying to kill another dog, you know.
But dogs,
and stuff. Or they'll kill animals smaller than them, you know, and stuff like that.
I think dogs are a little different. I think dogs kind of know what they're doing. Generally, if a dog has bitten someone, it has either been offended in some sort of way, or it is trying to protect somebody. That's typically the way that goes. That's what, you know, people in public, when they've got their dog on a leash or whatever, and it sees another dog. Okay, well, that dog's instantly got to think about their human. That's just what they do.
Hey, look, there's another dog. Hey,
there's another dog.
There's another dog. Hey, you know, hey, other dog. Hey, fuck you.
That's generally what they do. Now, there are dogs that won't get in fights, and there's dogs that will get in fights. You know, and there's dogs that will start those fights thinking they're protecting their human because they're untrained. And then there's dogs that just grow up on the streets that can be straight up wild animals.
Yeah.
So because if you take a dog out of the home, it's a wolf again.
Yeah.
Like or if you take a pig off the farm, it's a boar now.
Yeah.
They start growing tusks and hair and shit. So, I think that's the thing.
So what you're saying is your pet cat will eat you if it was the correct size.
Yeah, my cat Banjo, I have witnessed him catch a fly, bite off its wings, and play with it until it died. And he would get 30 minutes of entertainment out of that fly, and the only reason he stopped is because it died.
Yeah.
Like he wanted to torture it longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely think a cat does not give two fucks. Like, I think there are a lot of animals that don't give two fucks.
Yeah.
You know, but the difference is that my two cats know that I am superior.
Yeah.
My two cats know that, you know, I will treat them bad if they act bad.
Yeah.
Like, but my dog, my dog, as we're playing or whatever, if she accidentally gets my hand, she backs off and calms down quickly.
Yeah.
That's something a cat wouldn't do. Like, a cat wouldn't scratch you and then feel remorseful for it. A dog that, since just knowing Pebbles, like, if she accidentally bites me, like, I understand that I'm playing with the dog. I'm playing with those jaws, and I know what those jaws can do. And if she accidentally does it, she almost feels bad. Like, she's kind of pouting. Like, she's like, I did a bad, and then I have to rub her and tell her it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, and then she'll start playing again. But other animals don't do that. Like, a tiger, now I can say a tiger is probably nicer than my household cats, because my household cats want to pull your arms off and play with you until you die. Where a cat, like a tiger or something, no, it's just going to kill you. Yeah. It's not going to torture you. It's just going to straight up kill you.
It's more considerate.
Yeah, it's more considerate. It makes it happen quick. Like, you're gonna bleed out a lot.
I cannot believe, dude. Like, you know, people have like pet tigers and stuff in their house. I've seen videos of it, and if one of my
Mike Tyson,
if one of my friends ever did that, you know, I would just be like, sorry, man. Hey, man, Nick, you want to come over for a cookout? No, sorry.
Yeah, me and Steph have had that conversation, especially when we were watching Tiger King. Like,
I still never watched that.
So a lot of the individuals that have these animals, these exotic animals, especially exotic cats, it's because of the exotic kittens. It's not because of the big exotic cats. Now, I think Mike Tyson really loved his animals. I'll be completely honest with you. He just thought they were majestic as fuck, and he loved them. But a lot of the times, it's for the cubs. It's for or I guess kitties, the babies. So, because there's photo opportunities, there's money to be made off of them. They're cute, so you can get
exploitation,
women,
baby.
You can get women because they're cute and do photo shoots. I mean, that's what these people were doing. They were strictly doing that. But I think the premise of Tiger King was more of focused around Joe Exotic and selling kittens, but he was selling them more or less to fund the zoo, to fund his marriages, to fund his employees, to fund his habits. That's what he was doing, and that's not ethic. I mean, using the money to feed your cats is understandable, but the guy was buying, like, you know, sometimes he wasn't buying food. Sometimes he was getting like old Walmart shipments that got thrown out or whatever, and the cats are eating like bologna and you know,
that's
just
like
shit.
It's like that scene in Talladega Nights where Ricky Bobby's dad gets a cougar. And it's like in the car. It's in the car, and Ricky Bobby's like, "Where'd you get that thing?" He's like, "I trapped it." Like, and then he's like, "I've been keeping it in the bathroom in my hotel room, feeding it old pizza." Like,
yeah, that's pretty much what Joe Exotic was doing. Well, it got to that point.
I trapped it.
It's not that I don't think he necessarily wanted it to be at that point. But do you realize how expensive it is to feed a cat that large? I mean, like, in a year, you could probably spend, I don't know, $50,000 on one cat.
Yeah.
You know, in a year, you know, and if that cat's not making you money to do that, then you got to figure out something. So, like, he had bought like an old horse farm and like told the individuals that all those horses were going to get taken care of and blah, 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 blah. And there's no confirmation on this. It's just rumored, but the horses disappeared.
This is Joe Exotic.
Yeah.
Okay.
The horses disappeared. And a lot of the employees said, yeah, he killed those horses and butchered them and fed them to the cats because it was free food, you know, and he didn't want horses. That dude had alligators. He had a bunch of stuff. He had Michael Jackson's alligators. Huh. He had Michael Jackson's
I was about to say, I
alligators.
knew Michael Jackson had like exotic pets.
Yeah,
and stuff
I
too.
think they got, but Michael Jackson had enough money to pay people to take care of these animals. You know, Mike Tyson had enough money to pay people to take care of these animals. You know, he was paying people pennies. You know, he was picking up people down at the bus station that had no life.
Yeah.
You know, and in a way, he gave them a life. He gave them a way to live. But at the same time, it was not a good situation for anybody involved. And he probably would have gotten away with a lot of it if he wasn't so gung-ho on Carol Baskin trying to kill that bitch. Yeah, I mean, I don't care about your feelings on Joe Exotic and what he did and how horrible you feel about it. But
That's right, Blakely. You tell him.
I'm just gonna go out there and say that Carol Baskin is still a bitch and will always be a bitch and a problem, and she probably did kill her husband. So what? And then the next week's guest is Carol Baskin.
Segue
to Carol Baskin. Nah, if I ever got the opportunity to talk to her, I would have to talk to her about that, and I guarantee you she wouldn't talk about it.
Yeah,
I guarantee you.
Do you think, not to get straight totally off subject, but like, so you say we were able to get an interview with a lot of the famous serial killers are dead now, but like, if we could ever interview one from jail, you think we should do it? Like,
I don't think we could do it like this, but I think we definitely could.
Yeah,
I definitely would.
It's so like I've seen comments.
I would need guards around, but I would absolutely do it. I would pick somebody.
I mean, I've watched the interviews with like Jeffrey Dahmer and stuff in jail and everything, and like it's especially well, a lot of them, but a lot of serial killers, when they like get caught and they go to jail, they're all in jail. They're like, well, I found Jesus, and now he's going to. I found Jesus, and he forgives me for the 23 people that I brutally murdered.
Well, I think the majority of murderers that actually, do that, they generally, if they're coming from a good place, they say the opposite. Like, well, I know God didn't forgive me, but I'm still going to work for him.
That's what was a little bit intriguing. If you ever watched any of the few Jeffrey Dahmer interviews that he did after he was locked up.
If I'm not mistaken, he was a pretty smart fellow. Wasn't he?
He was smart, but he was also one that was kind of remorseful, but it's like he didn't, like, he wanted to not be the way that he was.
Yeah.
A lot of serial killers just don't care.
Yeah, he wasn't exactly happy with himself, but at the same time, he knew that was him.
He obviously knew better. He
knew better, and he still did.
Yeah. So
that's the type of person you got to lock up, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because you just can't trust what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But if I got the opportunity, I absolutely would, Nick. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
We'd probably have to take a tape recorder.
Chris Watts is still alive.
Who?
Oh, you still haven't seen that, have you?
Chris Watts?
Man, you need to watch that documentary on him.
Oh.
He's a guy, back in 2018, he murdered his wife and his two young kids.
No, I have. I know what you're talking. That was a North Carolinian.
He was North Carolinian. This happened it was in Denver, Colorado, or somewhere in Colorado.
He lived in Colorado, but his family was in North Carolina.
Yeah, right.
That's what. Okay, I remember. And then he hid the girls in a well. He killed an oil well.
He killed the mom. Her name was Suzanne or something like that. He killed her, smothered her at the house. Well, the kids were there. And then
that was nuts, man.
And then he takes his wife's body, takes the kids, and then goes to the oil field where he worked, kills the kids, and stuffs them in the oil tanks, and then literally just several hours, because this happened in the dead of night, and then I think he buried his wife in a shallow grave or whatever right near it, and then several hours later just goes to work nothing happened.
Acts like nothing happened.
Happened.
That was what was so incredible, is that his face and just the way he acted.
Yeah, because there's body cam footage of the next day when the police were starting to investigate.
Yeah, he seemed just I'm not saying that
you could tell he was nervous.
You could tell he was nervous, but at the same time, he just seemed like a normal man.
Yeah,
he seemed normal.
Right. But be able to do something like that, is wild.
It's incredible. So I want to ask you this, because I actually was, I meant to go back to it, but
baby, come back.
I meant to go back to it. I didn't get to hear the whole thing. But do you think his mistress, the lady he was cheating on his wife with, had any involvement?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No. I think she cut off all of her communication with him after she found out.
I was listening to an interview with her, and it got weird. So
was she changing up her story or something?
Well, there were just some inconsistencies to me that did not make any sense, where she was trying to cover herself up.
Yeah.
And I personally, when I listen to it, you know, and I want to finish it, I need to find that video, and I wish I knew the name of the video. There's a couple. YouTube is a glorious place.
This is also a throwback to episode 1. Because
Yeah.
we haven't done many dark murder stories in a minute.
But if you go to YouTube, there's some of course many channels that do kind of interview stuff where like a police interview has occurred, and they'll kind of like analyze it to an extent.
Oh yeah.
But this channel, I can't remember the name of the channel.
Is it a bald guy? Because there's a guy I watch on YouTube sometimes. I can't remember his name, but he's bald, and he's like
he does yeah, I know who you're talking about. That guy does a bunch of stuff.
He's more of like a physical.
Is he British?
No,
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think so.
I don't know.
I don't think he's British, but he'll analyze people's like serial killers and stuff. He'll analyze like their movements and stuff. Like if it's from
Demeanor.
Yeah, right. Their demeanor. I
and
can't remember his name though.
This channel for me, I kind of like this channel more because they don't really tell you kind of why they've posted it. So what I mean by that is like they kind of tell you what's going on, the context, and then they throw you in. And when they do stop, they don't stop to go, now this is where she got all nervous and put her head down and blah, blah, blah. They don't do that. So they don't really analyze demeanor or anything like that. Why I like them is they point out things that this is when a cop left. And then they'll restart. Like they'll do things like that, or they'll kind of give you some context as to the scenario.
Yeah.
But they won't really tell you why they posted it or what's important about it. And then when you listen to it, sometimes I don't get it. Sometimes I'm just like watching one and I'm like, this seems normal. But especially in hers, I was just like, okay, she's saying some weird shit.
Yeah.
Like that's just not so, it's not consistent. You can get away with it. To me, the way it feels after hearing that, it was more of, it almost sounds like maybe she had some light involvement. Like, and what I mean is like, she didn't want him to kill his wife. You know, cause her whole thing was she didn't know the wife existed, and they kind of figured out that she did.
I think
she did know.
I think I'd heard that he had told her that they were separating or something like that.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. And when she first was questioned, she acted like she didn't know at all.
Oh, okay.
And then so there was there was a lot of inconsistencies, but it seems like maybe she had some light involvement. Like maybe, you know, she wasn't there. She, you know, may have had conversation with him tongue in cheek. There's no telling.
Yeah.
You know, but then when shit went down, she's like, oh, fuck. Yeah. And then she basically, you know, let him know that if anyone's caught, it's going to be you and it's not going to be me.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like maybe she had said something to him in person, or some conversation was had that kind of gave him the idea, and maybe he took it seriously and she didn't. Or so, I feel like when I say light involvement, I think it's something like that, where it's like, I did not intend for you to kill your wife. Like, I did not intend for you to kill your children.
Listen, dumbass.
Like,
I didn't say that.
Do you not fucking understand that that's a horrible thing to do, and now I'm involved?
Dude, what's crazy is that right after he did it, like I said, he went to work. He talked to his real estate agent apparently about putting the house up for sale because he wanted to just start this whole new life, you know. But maybe if that's what you're gonna do, you could just like get a divorce. You know, you don't have to kill.
Well,
that's wrong.
I'll be honest with you. The more I kind of listen to the documentary, I think I watched two. I watched one on Netflix.
The big one's on Netflix,
and I watched another one on Hulu. And I think I saw the Hulu one first, and then I went and watched the Netflix one with Steph. And that, yeah, you're right. I think that one was bigger. But the real thing that I started to get a feeling is maybe the wife was a little overbearing. Like, I don't think the kids were. I think maybe the wife stressed him out. Maybe he was too simple of a guy. She seemed like she was very much like, you know, if he doesn't touch me, he doesn't love me,
right,
or he's cheating.
Yeah.
And he very well, you know, obviously that's what it turned into, but I mean, we know about one girl. So how many girls were there? I would like to know that. Things like that. But if there was no other girls and this was the only lady and he just realized that she's a lot more chill and he could have a lot more chill, you know, he just went about it the wrong way. You know, you don't kill your family. But what I'm trying to say is if the wife drove him to this, you know, not to put it on like the wife's fault. I'm not trying to say it's her fault she was murdered.
Tread carefully, Blakely.
Yes, that's not what that's if someone wants to try to put that in my mouth, don't. Because that is not what I intended.
That's what she said.
But what I'm trying to say is that life, the things that go on around you kind of lead you in a direction. And he was obviously a follower. He wasn't a leader. His wife was very much let's go on vacation, let's go see family, let's blah, 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 blah. She had the balls to step up to his parents. Like, she was obviously a strong woman, is what I'm trying to say. And I wonder if it was too much for her.
She was very pretty, too.
Yeah, she seemed fine, but, like, there was all those text messages where it's just like, you know, I literally put my ass in his face and he didn't touch it. Like she was saying stuff like that to her girlfriends. And it was like, girls have their conversations together, and I get that, but at the same time, like if that's what you're stressing on in life, first world issues, like
I do remember seeing us like on one of those documentaries a screenshot of her text messages of, like you said, her talking to her friends, and one of them was like I don't understand why he's not here fucking me right now.
Yeah, like she was just really not. I mean, they're married, so they should be sleeping together. But at the same time, like, she's just, I wonder if that's overbearing, if she was like always trying to fuck him and he's just like, leave me alone. You know, that he had become that leave me alone dad. I'm going to go hang out in the garage. You know, I mean, some people had dads like that were, you know, actually at home, but literally absent, but they're just drunk in the garage or whatever it is, you know, in their man cave watching football.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be bothered. You know, he may have become one of those where it's just like, you know, no, actually, you just get on my nerves. Like,
if you ever feel that way, though, fellas, don't do what he did.
Yeah, the divorce is easier.
Yeah,
divorce is easier.
Much so.
Less jail time.
Unless he just wanted to spend the rest of his life in jail, I guess.
No, he definitely didn't want to. He wouldn't have lied. He wouldn't have lied for that long, especially.
Well, he tried to. I mean, he tried to lie about the whole thing.
Yeah, but I'm saying, maybe I said that backwards. He would have. No, he wouldn't have lied. So, like, if he truly wanted to go to jail, he would have just been like, I killed my wife and kids. That's kind of what happened to Jeffrey Dahmer, didn't it? Like, he was like, when he was caught, he knew it. Like, he wasn't lying about anything. Nobody questioned him.
He told the whole truth when he got caught.
Yeah.
He was like, yep, I did it. I did all that. You know, there's the heads in my freezer over there.
Yeah. Once he was caught, like this dude, even though he was caught, was like, I didn't do it.
But but Chris Watts, I mean, he got caught pretty immediately. Like, it was within a couple days after he did it, he got caught. Jeffrey Dahmer and a lot of these other serial killers like did it for years. Yeah. And just, I mean, it was like 10 plus years, and then they finally got caught. You know, so then there's a lot. After that, then there's a lot of backtracking for like the investigators and policemen and stuff to like figure out where all these bodies ended up and stuff like that.
Well, it's because a lot of the times Jeffrey Dahmer had no connection to these individuals.
Yeah.
Like it was, you know, obviously Chris had a big connection to his.
Jeffrey Dahmer just picked up dudes at the gay bar.
Yeah, I mean, the only connection is if someone knew he was gay. Like, that's the connection. But anyways, so yeah, it's kind of a slippery slope with all of those. I just get the divorce. Just get the divorce.
Yeah.
Like it's okay. The kids will be fine. Just be cordial. It's all right. I grew up without a father. It's okay. It's okay. But if the tables were turned, what if the children killed the parents?
God, they were only like 3 or 4 years old. They'd have to be some pretty good masterminds to come up with that.
It was hard to hear those kids' voices and know that they were gone that way. It was really hard.
And the was it the defense attorney or whatever because I've watched like the videos of the trial and stuff too, and well, I mean, wasn't much of a trial. He was guilty, but
Yeah, he was very guilty.
But the defense attorney, am I saying that right? The guy that was against Chris Watts, would that be the correct way? The defense attorney.
No, so the defense attorney would have been Chris's attorney.
Then what's the opposite?
So that would be the prosecutor.
Prosecutor. Okay.
So the prosecutor would
I
have
haven't
been
watched
the state.
enough Law and Order to know all these
The
terms.
prosecutor would have been the state. So so whoever was hired by the state is who you're talking
The
about.
prosecutor said that the hole that Chris Watts had to stuff his kids in was like this big, like not.
What?
I mean, yeah, like
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I mean, it was like maybe he said
The size of a softball.
8 inches in diameter, or
Like a
something like
grapefruit.
that. Yeah, something like that. At 8 inches, at
Maybe
the
a
most.
cantaloupe.
So he had to like literally put in effort to stuff these girls in there. I mean, it's just bad.
I mean,
dude.
and I know
Bad.
they were young, but like, I mean, he definitely did damage to the body, is what you're trying to say. Yeah. Oh my God. And to have I couldn't. Like, I feel like if I did something like that to a child, I had no idea who they were. Like, if I killed a child, you're going to catch me crying somewhere. Like, there's no way I can do anything else. I would call the police on myself. Like,
I would hope so.
I just don't. I don't.
I would hope that you just
I don't
wouldn't
know
do that,
a situation that I would get into that I would do that, But if that ever was to occur, like, I'm the first
What
one
if a
turning
random
myself
kid
in.
that's like a super black belt ninja came up to you and just started trying to beat your ass, and you were but so then you could call it self-defense, right?
Yeah.
An 8-year-old just comes up to you and
I
like
don't
knows
think I
every
would
move.
kill him, though. I think I would be much more likely to grab him by the wrist, and like if something like that happened or something, I would definitely wrap him up.
But what if he was going to not stop until you were dead?
Does he have a deadly weapon? Does he have a knife or a gun or a pole or
A gun wouldn't be fair.
something?
So
I mean, like, does he have a weapon?
maybe a katana.
He's got a fucking katana. He's got a fucking katana. He might get me first.
Yeah.
I think I would I would be much more likely to just grab the katana before he swung.
There you go.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
Render him useless.
I know we're guitar players and all, but like if someone's about to swing something at you, this doesn't work with a knife. Don't do this to a knife. But if someone's about to swing a blade at you, grab the blade. And it's going to cut you. It's going to hurt. But the blade didn't go through your body. You are now in control of that blade to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So I have the feeling if I grab the blade, even if it cuts me, I would have enough power to grab the blade, kick the kid, and we're good.
You could be like,
And I've disarmed him.
You could be like Owen Wilson in that movie. You ever seen Drill Bit Taylor?
No.
It was like,
is that an older movie or newer?
It came out like the mid 2000s. It was basically these two nerdy kids go like their first year in high school, and kind of almost sort of typical, like, they're trying to fit in or whatever, and then they're like easy targets for the bullies. One of the bullies is actually Josh Peck, and then another one was like a guy I don't remember
Josh
his
Peck.
Yeah, from Drake and Josh.
He had him a movie.
He's been in
That's
several
awesome.
movies.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, go you.
Yeah,
Go
He
Josh.
was in the Red Dawn remake.
Go Josh.
He's been in several shows. He's been in
Josh is doing so much better than Drake.
Oh yeah, we could talk about that too.
He's going so much better.
But he's been in like Big Bang Theory. He had that own show. He had his own show with John Stamos there for a little bit called Grandfathered.
John Stamos.
Yeah,
I love that man.
But anyway, so yeah, so these nerdy kids are getting
Someone's
bullied.
gonna think toilet papers are. That's paper towels. That's
Yeah.
not toilet paper.
I literally moved it from there so it wouldn't show up on camera. And it's still there.
It's not toilet paper. I promise.
But anyway, so these kids are getting bullied and stuff. So they hire Owen Wilson, who is like he lies to them and tell them that he's like a former Marine or whatever. And so they hire him to be their bodyguard, but he's really just trying to take advantage of these kids to get their money. But then he actually kind of ends up growing attached to the kids. But anyways, spoiler alert: at the end of the movie, they're at a house party and the bully. ends up happening is that the kids end up standing up to the bully, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna beat your ass." And he's like, "Well, we're not gonna do it here at school because then I'll get in trouble." So he's like, "I'm having a party at my house. Y'all come to my house and I can do whatever I want then, Yeah. And they're like, "We'll see you there." And then they go there, and then they end up kind of brawling or whatever, and the nerdy kids kind of end up winning a little bit. But then the bully gets mad, and he pulls out a katana out of his house, and he like chucks it at him, like from his front yard. And before he could get to the kids, Owen Wilson stands in front of the sword, and he catches it with his hand. So chops off his pinky or whatever.
Yeah, but, I mean, you might lose in a pin, but I'm just going to go out there and say it's going to be very rare that something like that happens, and katanas are extremely sharp, but they are a lot sharper when there's force behind them.
Yeah.
They're a lot sharper when there's force behind them. So if you can grab the back of the blade and push it down, great. If not, just grab the blade. If I've learned anything from The Walking Dead, grab the blade.
Yeah.
Grab the blade. Bite his neck.
I mean, we've both totally been in these situations before, so we know how this works.
Yeah. Well, but I'm just saying, you were asking if it was okay, and I just have the feeling that I would be able to disable the child without killing him. I have the feeling that I would be able to do that. Now, if it's a man, it's him or me.
What if it's...
We're in war then. It's him or me.
What if it's Sonic the Hedgehog? I mean, nobody could be fast enough to catch up.
Sonic the Hedgehog is too nice. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that.
He would jump up in a ball, and then how you used to play it in the video games, he's rolling in a ball formation as you're in the air, and then he just kind of
that would
forces his way to...
That would never happen. So if Sonic was a real thing, he's too nice of a guy. Just give him a chili dog. He'll leave you alone. So I asked y'all on Facebook, on the Facebook page, if you're not a part of the Facebook page yet, I asked y'all to go check out our Twitter. And I know I've talked shit on Twitter, but what I want to do is I want to start this thing. And it's literally just using the hashtag #GetDisarranged. And what it is if you can just tweet something or, using that hashtag, when we come to do this show, I've got some information to go through. If y'all think it would be better to use email or maybe the Facebook page, let me know. But I have the feeling that if you use Twitter, that would be easier. So if that's not the case, then we'll come up with a different method. But of course, I don't think we got any. I just went to check to see if anybody left us a good get disarranged sort of thing. But I don't think we've got any, unfortunately.
Hell yeah!
Good job, people.
Thank you guys. we love the support.
Yeah, I have the feeling that would be easier, because then you could just type out whatever you want us to know, whatever you want to tell us, whatever questions you want to ask, things like that. And we can just have a whole segment on the show going through them, or just go, and
tell us what kind of fruit you like.
I mean, it doesn't have to be like that. And just our gay
but
fans.
But it doesn't have
we
to
like any
not
fruit.
Be like that either.
We like any fruit.
Strawberries are king.
Yeah, strawberries are okay. All right, that's a berry.
A berry.
Are berries fruits?
I think so.
So with what I'm going to do instead, though, just to kind of give us some fun, as I'm using Twitter as a news source, and then we're going to kind of talk about it or see how credible Twitter is. So evidently 1 hour ago, multiple people were killed during an Amtrak hitting and derailing in Missouri. It hit a truck. So this is going to come out on Friday, so this is probably not going to be relevant anymore. But can you think of an Amtrak hitting a truck? Can you imagine?
It sounds like it would be the truck's fault.
It's the holy shit. I can't. They're fast, dude.
Yeah, but
3 people died, so that's not too bad. But we want to send our prayers out to those families that had to go through that. At least 50 people were injured. Oh my God.
That's why railways have the warning
See if we got any
thing.
details. Yeah. I wonder if maybe it wasn't working or what happened. 3 people died. Train hit a dump truck at a public crossing and derailed near Minden. Holy, that's all the detail. It's so new. It hit a dump truck.
That was probably a smelly accident right there.
Yeah, so we'll get back to you if we figure out anything else about that. But there's no, I checked through like 3 sources and there's no real detail as to why it happened.
Yeah.
But we definitely want to give our love to the people of Missouri who have lost theirs or who are injured. Speedy recovery, we want it. Then other than that, Twitter thinks we need to watch this or click on this trending post for the Panthers. It thinks it's trending.
It's probably got something to do with Luke Kuechly, I would assume.
Yep, you're exactly right. 4 hours ago, announced
Speaking
that
of,
former linebacker Luke Kuechly is joining the team's broadcasting team and will call 7 games this season. Ain't that incredible?
That's awesome, but he'll do it for a year and then he'll quit and go do something else.
Yeah. Luke's just having fun.
Yeah,
in his
he's just
retirement.
doing whatever.
He's just doing whatever he feels like. I think he'd be great at calling games.
Oh, I'm sure he will be.
I love that Greg Olson's been doing it. Just because I love his demeanor.
Well, Greg just got promoted.
Yeah,
too.
he got promoted, so he'll be technically at the Super Bowl this year, right? Okay, so yeah, so good on you, Greg.
Yes,
we're proud of you, buddy. Let's see what else was there. Yeah, it's just everybody talking about Luke. The next trending in sports is Deshaun Watson.
Is he getting suspended or not?
Well, no. I think we all know he's getting suspended. We just don't know for how long. So
I've been seeing it's probably going to be at least a year.
I have the feeling it's going to be a year too. Just because of, other people that if Calvin Ridley got suspended for that long for $1,500?
Yes.
Like that's nothing.
Dumb like that.
Yeah. Then Deshaun has 66 accusers.
Don't get me wrong. Like I'm fine with Calvin Ridley being suspended for the whole year because he's on the Falcons and we don't have to deal with him for twice a year. But
that's a good excuse.
But people are like, "Oh, you can't do that. It messes with the integrity of the game." Like, what? You make it seem like he murdered somebody. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So. Like you can't bet on your own games, obviously, or you can't bet on any football if you're an employee of the NFL. You just can't do that. Like,
yeah, maybe
you just can't.
Maybe suspend him for like a couple games. That's pretty harsh to suspend him for the whole year.
Yeah, I think what they did. That's what I was trying to say is like Deshaun is being accused of much worse than Calvin did. So to just kind of compare it, like
and look, regardless if Deshaun did do something or didn't do something, he put himself in that situation, and he.
Well, and the more we're learning, it seems like the Texans were not exactly innocent in that situation either. They kind of encouraged it. Because that was my first question. It's like, okay, if you need a masseuse,
don't just go to the facility.
Just go to the facility, right? And I think what it was for Deshaun. So this is me not picking a side because I don't know the truth, But, just kind of being in the middle, I think Deshaun was thinking, well, the facility's way the fuck over there and I live over here and it's cheaper for the facility to just pay for me a room in this hotel. And that's typically where he did these. So he had like a hotel that knew him. They knew the Texan staff. They knew that, that's kind of what it was. Is that ethically right to book a hotel room for a masseuse? Kind of seems like you're expecting something. Personally, that's just what I'm thinking.
At the end, he's just like, hey,
there's a bed here,
Yeah. It's like that massage felt nice, but You know what would feel nicer?
And he
That was-
had
that
a
was him.
lot before the season started. He had a lot of massages from a lot of different girls.
There was like 66 different
Yes,
masseuses.
and I wonder if the majority of them were just like, yeah, I'm actually gonna play with Deshaun Watson's penis. Like, I wonder if some of them were just like, yeah, I'll get some of that money. But I bet a lot of them, that didn't want to, felt pressured because of who he is,
Yeah.
which is, I'm not saying he did it or didn't, but he definitely knew that he upset some girls. And enough for him to say that he is sorry they felt uncomfortable. That was admitted in court. So it sounds slippery. The more we go down it, I think if you want my true, like what I feel happened, and I can't prove, is that Deshaun pushed himself onto girls that he thought was feeling comfortable. Like he felt something with that individual, so he kind of flirted in a way and wanted something more out of it. And when they felt uncomfortable, he tried to correct it. I'm sorry. I'd like to work with you in the future. Just let me know if you're okay with that. But I want you to know that I'm sorry you felt uncomfortable. And I think that's a good way of handling it. But at the same time, ask that girl on a date. Like,
Buy her dinner first, Deshaun.
Yeah, just like there's different expectations in that situation when you're wanting to see somebody. But I think he has a girlfriend, if I'm not mistaken. He has a significant other of some sort.
It's a faithful woman right there.
Well established, and I think she's still around. Maybe she just knows something that we don't. I don't know. But this report from Ian Rappaport says the last one, latest from the Browns, Deshaun Watson, and all that it means. The Texans were sued for allegedly enabling Watson's behavior. And Watson has a hearing before jointly appointed disciplinary officer Sue Robinson on Tuesday. So tomorrow there will be something. So hopefully y'all will know what happens on Friday when this episode comes out. I have the feeling we all know that Deshaun's going to get suspended, which is good for the Panthers.
Which means we don't have to play him week 1.
Yes, which is good for the Panthers, which means we get to play
Probably Jacoby.
Jacoby Brissett. So now,
unless somehow the Browns are just like
there's no
way. There's no way.
They have burnt the fuck out of that bridge.
Oh yeah,
they burnt that bridge to where it can't be built again.
I don't think in my lifetime I have seen a quarterback situation like this. And you would
for
think
it to happen to Baker Mayfield is so weird. Because, I could see something like this happening to, Sam Darnold. I could see something like this happening to Kirk Cousins. I can see, not that Kirk Cousins is bad. I'm just saying, he's just such a, I feel like Baker's more of a character.
Yeah.
More, I feel like Baker sells more tickets.
Yeah.
I feel like Baker himself is just, a different individual. It happened to him.
For me,
holy shit.
What makes the Browns this is why they've been such a terrible organization for the last 60, 70 years.
They can't figure it out, man.
They can't figure it out. And it's it's like, I don't know why they were so gung-ho on paying Deshaun Watson the most money ever on a quarterback when they knew he had some shit. And Baker, he takes
they're not going to pay him a whole lot this year. But they're going to pay him a hell of a lot next year. I saw that contract.
Yeah. But Baker gets you to the playoffs for the first time in however many years, and then he has one down year where he's injured, and you're just like, see ya. We're gonna give all our money to this guy who may not even play for us.
What I really hope. Well, I mean that's the most Browns thing they've ever done.
Yeah.
But what I really hope is I hope we can get Baker as a Panthers fan. I've thought about that more and more and more. And he's fully healthy.
How likely is it though now that mini camp's over and stuff? I almost feel like they would have gotten it done by this point.
I feel like we're still trying. From from the conversation, the things that are being reported is that the Panthers are constantly speaking with Cleveland, and Cleveland is constantly speaking with us. And I think.
But how could you not get a deal done at this point?
I think we're wanting him for free. I think that's what's happening. I think this is probably a Matt Rule versus GM sort of situation. What, like, management is saying that, no, we want him for nothing. And Matt Rule's like, just get him here. That sort of thing. I think that's what's happening. Where it's, and I think at this point, I'll be honest with you, when I heard, I can't remember where I read this. Supposedly, Cleveland was okay with paying $6 or $7 million of his contract.
I think I'd
let him go.
I think I'd heard like 9 or 10.
Yeah. So I was hearing reports that, okay, they're compromising now. Yeah. Now after the draft, they're compromising, meaning jump on it. Yeah. Just shut the hell up, jump on it. And I think the best thing, and that might be another thing too. I didn't think about this, but I was always saying that we should just give up Sam because he'll play for them. They'll know they'll have a backup in Sam, and just do an even swap for Baker. Yeah, because both sides are going to benefit from that.
Both are owed the same amount of money too. But
both sides are going to benefit from
that. But Cleveland will do it. Cleveland.
I wonder if
stubborn.
They just really don't want Sam Darnold. So meaning that
Sam Darnold is quite the polarizing quarterback, ain't he?
Something tells me if there's a year that Sam Darnold's going to be good, it's going to be this year.
It has to be. Otherwise, he's going to. Otherwise, he will be regulated to a backup the rest of his career.
Yeah, if we don't get Baker, and Sam Darnold does not play good this year, Sam's career's over.
Well, I mean, as a starter, he'll find a job as a backup.
As a starter,
and he could actually. I'm sure he'd probably be a pretty serviceable backup. And I guess looking at it as a fan, or
I'm growing more attached to Matt Corral the more I think about it too. So maybe we don't need Baker, but I want Baker.
I don't know like why people want to look down so much on a. I mean, having a good backup quarterback is still very essential.
Yeah, but you don't want to pay Sam starter money to be a backup either.
I guess not.
I don't think he's a glorious backup.
But the NFL is like the richest sports league in like the world, I guess. Maybe not the world. I don't know. But
there's a lot of money spent.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money spent.
So like people want to act like money is such a big deal in the NFL when it's really not. Like I said, the Browns just are going to pay Deshaun Watson $230 million to not even play this year probably. And maybe
That's
who
probably
knows
what's going to happen.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know why people are making such a big fuss about like paying Sam Darnold $18 million or whatever. Like it's really not that big of a deal.
Since we've got good cap right now, I don't think it's a humongous deal.
Yeah,
take them on, let them battle it out. But I do feel like, and maybe I'm a liar. Maybe it's the exact opposite. Maybe management wants Baker and would do anything for it. And Matt Rule's like, no, there's
that could be a possibility.
On spending the money.
That could be a possibility because Matt Rule.
Maybe he's saying, no, Sam's the guy.
Well, Matt Rule brought Sam here last year, probably with enormous pressure from the owner too.
Yeah,
and so Matt Rule really, really wants Sam Darnold to work because he wants to be like, hey, look, I know y'all doubted me when I brought him here. But look what I turned him into, that kind of thing, And if Matt Rule doesn't do that this year, he's fired too. He's gone as well.
Probably.
I don't see him winning 5 games again this year and then getting a 4th year. Yeah. Like I just don't. I don't.
Do you think if he does decent? You think if he wins 8 games, if he does better than he did last year?
God, 8
he
wins,
makes it to a playoff.
8 wins as opposed to 5 is really not that big. I guess it would be a big improvement for us because we've had 3 seasons in a row of only winning 5 games.
Yeah, let's say we go to the playoffs.
I think if we go to the playoffs,
give Matt Rule a contract extension.
I think you got to because I don't know about a contract extension, but I think you give him another year at least because there was much. I mean. Going from only 5 wins to going to the playoffs most of the time is a big feat. Now, sometimes teams get into the playoffs with only 7 or 8 wins.
Yeah.
But most of the time, you have to be in that 9, 10, 11 win column to get into the playoffs. And so going from only 5 wins to the playoffs, I think would be a pretty big feat. Some people are like, he even if we make the playoffs, he has to win his first playoff game too. Then we can talk about bringing him back. I don't know. I feel like if we get to the playoffs, I think he's safe because you don't want to get in a revolving cycle of coaches.
Yeah, if you don't trust him a little bit, then
it's like I seen a list the other day that Ian Rappaport or somebody posted. I don't remember exactly, but it was like the coaches most likely to be fired this year, and of course Matt Rule was number one. But they had like Kevin Stefanski on there. They had Pete Carroll on there.
That's kind of, well, Pete's
Frank
getting
Reich
old.
was on there.
I think Pete's getting old. I think that's his problem.
He's like 70 something.
Well, he wants he kind of wants a running game in Seattle when they didn't need it. Like, I mean, he could, you think their second round draft pick was a running back. Like, I don't know.
They need offensive line help.
I guess they're just going to let Geno Smith.
Well, and if you think about it, too,
or Drew Lock, and I don't think
now,
it's going to be Drew Lock.
Talking about Baker Mayfield, Seattle's kind of gone back into the running for Baker Mayfield now too.
That would be smart because he's a game manager. You can do what you want.
Yeah,
I mean, if that's what you want, then Baker will do it.
Seattle's almost like the sexier location. I don't know if it's the better team necessarily. We're both kind of
about the same. Honestly,
same, really.
Our defense is probably better.
Yeah.
But about the same. Yeah. Offensively. And I don't know. This year's off season was so weird. So weird. I mean, like most teams are completely changed. Like, Kansas City didn't take a huge hit other than losing Tyreek Hill.
But that might hurt though.
It might hurt.
Yeah.
It might hurt. But he's still got Travis Kelce. That's his number one. That's always been his number one. They drafted a wide receiver that's probably going to be good.
Tyreek Hill's so fast. Oh my god.
Tyreek Hill's going to be
so fast.
Well, you think of the Dolphins. What the hell's going to happen with the Dolphins? Like
with their quarterback situation?
Yeah, they've got two. Oh, my dog's barking. They've got two of the best receivers in the game. They got Tua that looked better towards the end of the year. Tyreek Hill's talking up Tua. I know he has to because that's his dude.
Who's their other quarterback? Or did they didn't draft one though?
Teddy.
Is Teddy on the Dolphins now?
I think Teddy's the backup.
Oh, okay.
Let me see.
Teddy Bridgewater is becoming the new Ryan Fitzpatrick of the NFL. Ryan Fitzpatrick just retired, and now Teddy Bridgewater is taking over that journeyman.
I always
category.
compared him to what's his name? I don't know who he played for the Chargers year before last. Oh, he played for the Texans this year. What's his name?
Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod. Yeah. I've always compared Teddy to Tyrod. Dolphins quarterbacks 22. Yep. Tua, and then Teddy's behind him.
Oh,
so I had I think that was a good place for Teddy because something tells me if Tua does not work out, Teddy's going to do fine with that offense.
Well, Teddy will do good for a few games until defenses figure out that he's just trying. He's just managing basically, and they'll keep him from throwing anything deep or anything like that.
I don't think Tyreek cares right now. Like Tyreek was acting more like, I'd rather you just dump the ball out to me and let me use my legs, versus like because he kind of started a little bit of a beef with Patrick Mahomes because he was trying to say that Tua for accuracy because that Tyreek Hill has his own podcast now. I can't remember what it's called. If you like football, they talk a lot about it. Let's see. What was it called?
About to bust a bus. I was just thinking of that podcast, Bussing with the Boys.
It doesn't.
What happened?
How come I can't find it? Which we think.
I don't know. I didn't know Tyreek had a podcast.
He just started it. I think he's only got like 4 or 5 episodes. I think it's called It Needed to Be Said. think that's what it's called. Yeah, it's called It Needed to Be Said. That's what it's called. And what he was saying was, like, because the question got asked, like, favorite quarterback to throw to you. Like, that was kind of the question.
Has he had multiple?
Was
he playing with Alex Smith?
Well, I guess
he might have been playing with Alex Smith.
He would have been playing with Alex Smith. He would have had Patrick. But, I mean, there's no question it's Patrick Mahomes. Like,
it's got to be.
It's got to be. But he said Tua. And he said Tua because he said he's got the prettiest ball. It's accuracy.
He's got the prettiest
That's what he said.
Balls.
He said it's probably the prettiest ball I've ever caught, meaning like he was kind of acting like Patrick was always overthrowing him and it was kind of a dumb, wobbly throw and stuff. Don't think that's necessarily true because everything I saw Tyreek catch, I always was just like, how? Like, how did that ball go that far and how did you catch it? And they always connected. But he just acted like life was easier with Tua because of his accuracy. Like, he knows Tua's going to put it in the right place is what he's saying.
It's kind of similar with...
I don't know...
It's kind of similar with Steve Smith. Like, you would think... Like, people kind of pick on Jake Delhomme a lot, but just for the way his career ended. Yeah. But, like...
That man would chuck a ball.
Steve
he'd throw a ball and have no idea where he's putting it.
Steve actually played with multiple quarterbacks. He played before, because he was on the team before Jake was there. He played with like fucking Chris Winkie and
I forgot about Chris Winkie
and like Rodney Peete and stuff like that. And then Jake Delhomme came along, and then he also Steve played with Jimmy Clausen for a year and Matt Moore. Actually, he's played with several quarterbacks because we had, in the interim of Jake like being hurt and everything in the mid 2000s, we had Vinny Testaverde for a little bit. We had David Carr, Derek's older brother.
Yeah, Derek's older brother.
Which he was awful for us too. And then we had Matt Moore. And we had Jimmy Clausen in 2010. So Steve's played with a lot of shitty quarterbacks, and then he played with Cam, for the last few years that Steve was here. And he says that Jake Delhomme was his absolute favorite guy. Yeah. Like, it wasn't Cam, it wasn't anybody else. Like, he said Jake was having a bad game one day, and they caught this on the sidelines. Like, Jake was kind of sitting there, like, upset with himself, and Steve came up to him and he was like, "Hey man, you know what? You could throw 50 interceptions and you would still be my guy." Like, so they just had that kind of connection. Well, they were doing like Bojangles commercials together and stuff.
They
too,
were. I love those commercials, by the way. But maybe that's what he's trying to say. Maybe he connects with Tua better. And Patrick, of course, Patrick got asked about it because he's just like, "Hey, Tyreek's kind of throwing shade on you." Not necessarily, Tyreek didn't mean it that way, but obviously he knew that was going to get his podcast some publicity.
Oh yeah.
So it may have been for the views, for the clicks, as they say, but also too, I have the feeling, like, just the way Patrick talked, he goes, "Look, I just saw him a couple weeks ago. Everything's cool. Like,
everything's gravy.
Stop acting like it's a big deal." He's like, "I still love him. I'll always love him. I still feel like he's, one of my teammates. He's not here now, and I'm going to be against him, and we're just going to play football. It's all football." That's basically what Patrick was saying. Patrick basically said, "I don't give a fuck." That's basically what he said. Like,
I'm here to win rings, bitch.
And he's probably going to. He's going to continue for the rest of his career. But I wonder if Tyreek and Tua just are better friends than Patrick was. Because Patrick obviously was really close to his running backs. And he was always like, I know Clyde Edwards-Helaire is like one of his favorite people. And Travis Kelce is like his dude. That's his escape. If Patrick don't know what to do with the ball, throw it at the big man.
Yeah.
Throw it at the big man.
Let's see, what year was Tyreek drafted? The 2016.
I think he was a fourth-round draft pick, if I'm not mistaken. He
went to Garden City College, Oklahoma State, and the University of West Alabama. He quarterbacked for regular Alabama, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they were friends in that area or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't. I don't think it seems like, okay, so of course Tyreek said he was happy with the conversion because of the money. Once he figured out, okay, I can make that much money and a place will pay me that much money. But he doesn't seem too upset that he went to the Dolphins. He doesn't seem too upset at their overall record. He doesn't seem too upset that they have a new coach. Like, he seems pretty gung-ho Miami right now. I do think we all know that Tom Brady was trying to go there. I think Tom Brady pretty much has already said that. That was not the initial, basically the way things turned out for Tom Brady was not the initial plan, but he's fine with it, is basically what he said.
Yeah.
And I think we knew he was wanting to go there, and not only having Jalen Waddle, but having Tyreek Hill would have been humongous. The Dolphins would have been unstoppable offensively. I don't know about defensively. But their defense hasn't been horrible either. So I don't know how the new coaches...
They creamed us when we played them this past year.
Yeah, their defense is one of those that's very similar to ours, where it's just like we're either there or we're not. Like, we're either in the game and we're fucking getting the ball back constantly, or we're just not playing ball. We're just having an off day. That's been the worst thing about being a Panthers fan, is that there are teams that just work. Green Bay Packers just play ball. They rarely have a bad day. It doesn't matter who's on
Unless
the
it's
field.
in the playoffs.
Unless it's in the playoffs. Kansas City rarely has a bad day. They do, but it's not the same. Like, the Panthers will have 3 bad days in a row, and Kansas City will have 3 bad days a year. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's the difference. That's the difference. So it's hard to be a Panthers fan, but I feel like if Sam Darnold's going to have a year, it's going to be this year.
Well, it better be.
So I'm just saying. Mark
Or
my
we
words.
could
If
just-
it doesn't happen, Sam's out.
Or we
Matt
could
Rule's out.
We could just get Baker Mayfield, or we could try to see how Matt Corral looks.
I think okay, so me and you both watch Microphone. I think is his name.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Shout out to Mike. I think he's got like a Twitter and a podcast too, or not a Twitter, Twitch and a podcast too. But anyways, he did a little documentary series on Matt Corral, and I didn't get to finish that either. I'm still working on that. But
I think I watched it. I think.
Yeah, he left a lot of good information that kind of gave me some context as to like basically where Matt Corral came from. Like, why is he here now? How did he get here? And if everything he said is true, we're good.
We're solid.
We're solid. That's the man you want.
Yeah.
You want the man that goes for it and gets it. Like, he literally had everything against him.
Yeah.
Like, this dude had to trade high schools. He had to go to a different high school to play ball.
Yeah.
Because of money and politics in the high school, because he beat up a fucking hockey player's kid. Or got in a fight with. I don't know if he beat him up, but he got in a fight with him.
I feel like if I was entering the NFL as a rookie quarterback, knowing that I'm more or less going to be a backup, like my first year or whatever, like, a lot of these rookie quarterbacks are always like, I'm just a student of the game, like I'm looking up to the starter right now and stuff like that, being friendly. I feel like just the way I feel like I'd be the type of guy to go in there and be like, because it's a competition in a sense, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I'd go in there and be like, hey man, you're cool and all, but I'm kind of here to take your job. Just letting you know. like I would totally be that guy.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think Matt Corral's not opposed to being that way. I think he is a lot better of a leader. I think it showed a lot of character in that little docuseries that he did. And not that he didn't do bad things.
Yeah.
A lot of his rap is following him from high school, because of course he got in that fight, but also too, his receiver at that school at the time was like basically the leading receiver going into college. But that fella got put in jail for the rest of his life, and he remained friends with that guy. He still contacts him. He still goes visits him. And that is what's haunting him. And he's like, that guy's my brother. You know, you can't expect me not to go. It's like if Dylan, it's like if Dylan went to jail and got stuck in jail. Would you not go see him even if he killed somebody? You still have to go see that motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I don't think this dude killed. I think it was a robbery situation. This dude got put in jail for the foreseeable future, but realized what he had done was wrong. You know, he's in jail. He's spending his time, and you know, Matt didn't come in and like talk about bullshit with him. He didn't go, "Why did you do this?" Blah, blah, blah. Like, they didn't have that conversation. He goes, "How was your day?" Like, that's the kind of conversation he was having.
See,
like, he's treating him like it's his brother. And
I guess I would be a little opposite, because just knowing like Dylan, he would never do something like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And like,
well, and I think he thought his receiver would have never done anything.
but so
like
I would
that
at least
either.
try to like kind of pick his brain first and be like, what happened? Like, what is going on? Why did you do this?
Sure, you can have this conversation, but after he did what he did.
Yeah, I guess after a while.
And blah, 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 you would just show up there, not to belittle him, but to make his day.
Yeah.
But also to treat him as a human.
But also, too, I guess you got to be kind of, you know, sympathetic to the victims, too, of whoever he killed.
I don't think he killed anybody. I think it was some sort of robbery that he was involved in.
Right.
And it may have been like an armed robbery. I don't think he killed anybody.
I'm just saying, just in general, if it was a friend of mine that like murdered somebody or whatever, you know,
Yeah,
I mean, like, I guess I would want to be a little more sympathetic to the victims too. Like, you know, like at least tell them like, look, this was not the person that I knew. Like,
exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
Like, so I don't know what happened, but it did, unfortunately.
But what happened.
Yeah.
And I think he understands that, but just, I mean, the news, that local news would just fucking batter him.
Yeah.
You know, every interview it came up, every time he went there, it was recorded. Like, somebody was like, there's Matt Corral going to visit his, visit his crime buddy. And I wonder what crimes Matt Corral's doing. Like, shit like that was following him, you know. And it was just like, he's having to put up with this as a senior in high school.
I also think,
like, holy shit.
I also think I read he had a problem with like alcoholism for a little bit.
Yeah, that was more in college.
As a minor, I guess.
That was more in college because he was depressed. He was sad.
But I don't think that's no reason to talk about anything he's doing in the present. I mean,
yeah, he's definitely over it. He's definitely more adult now. But he's a fighter.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a good sign, because we've watched Sam Darnold the last year. Well, I mean, even Teddy. Like, Teddy just gave up at the end of the year. And it was just like, no, I know it seems hopeless, but you can't just give up. Like, you got to try.
I think the problem, a lot of the issue with
who's going to be the fucking leader here? It can't always be Christian. We don't have Luke Kuechly anymore.
I think there's way too many, and we've had this conversation before. I think there's just way too many athletes that, like in professional sports, that get the big bucks, and it's just like, why do I need to try anymore?
Yeah,
you know, not all of them, but
it's kind of like the way you feel during a day job.
Right.
Like, what's the point in trying?
Yeah.
I got the money now.
Maybe a lot of athletes get to the NFL or NBA or whatever it is, and to them it's not as glamorous as they thought it would be, you know.
Maybe.
And so they just
not everybody's
don't.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and it's just, or yeah, like, so you spend
Brady.
Maybe you spend a lot of your time as a backup or something like that, and you're one of those guys that really wants to be out there. Some people might be fine with just sitting down and
complacent.
Yeah, some people might be fine making millions of dollars just holding a clipboard or something.
That's
like
what
that.
I would have been cool with.
Like, I mean,
well, just to go, like, almost like help my quarterback. If I was a backup quarterback, you know,
it won't be a clipboard anymore. Now it's the tablets.
I'm the guy watch. Like, fuck yeah, I'll get paid to watch some football. Fuck yeah. Like, that's awesome.
But some guys may not be like. Some guys may just be like, you know, maybe they just constantly try their hardest, but they're just never good enough to be a starter or something like that.
Yeah.
And they just it's not as glamorous as they thought it would be. So then maybe at some point they quit trying, and I don't know. There's a lot of factors.
I don't think Sam's quit trying. I think what it is like Sam just doesn't have that leader thing.
No, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think
I think he's still trying. Like Teddy gave up.
like
You could visibly see when Teddy was in and when he was out.
Yeah.
And it was just done.
I just think I think like, and I've said it before, the thing that did it for me with Sam was last year during the Patriots game that I was at. So I actually didn't see this happen in real time, but like Robbie Anderson,
you were physically there.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson was like yelling at Sam on the sidelines, and like, I mean, I don't know how that locker room talk goes and everything really, but I mean, like, Sam didn't even acknowledge him, and we were getting our asses kicked. Sam didn't acknowledge him, like, didn't do anything, just put his hat on and sat there, and
yeah,
just
he almost would have been better fighting with him.
Yeah, because at least it shows. Some sort of
put him in his place,
some sort of way that you're going to come together, and you can make the same argument with Cam and the whole towel thing, but Cam got the job done more often than Sam ever has, So I mean, you could say what you want about Cam.
That's where me and you disagree, because I really hated seeing Cam like pitch a fit, like be a baby.
But that's the thing. I don't know if he ever really pitched many fits though. Like I feel like
he's losing.
I feel like he did more of what I was just talking about with Sam. I feel like he would just sit on the sidelines with his towel over his head. And,
well, yeah, but there were occasions like where he's just like rolling his eyes and being like Sam actively just acted like Sam just turned unhuman for a moment. He turned into one of those lizard people, and he's just
staring at the wall,
at the wall and shit. And where Teddy, like, you could just see where Teddy's just like, nope, I'm done playing. Like, and he just give up. I don't think Cam ever gave up.
Yeah,
I think Cam just became frustrated and just kind of would throw a temper tantrum.
The thing I never understood about Teddy was that because he's pretty good. I think he's better than Sam. But, like, how the hell can you have, like, 8 opportunities to get at least a game-tying field goal, and you could not do it, like, any time? And like, the earlier parts of the game, you played fine, but this one moment, you can't get it done.
Yeah.
And, like, the offensive line, it doesn't matter. It's the same offensive line that there's been the whole game. Like, I never understood that about Teddy.
Teddy had a lot more Christian McCaffrey than Sam did. Than Kyle.
Dude, I kind of liked Kyle Allen. I hate that it turned out for him the way it did. He had a skill set that just never really developed much further.
Yeah, I think he will. Once he gets healthy, he might play again.
Yeah,
he might play again.
Yeah, I want him to get another opportunity, because I liked the way, and he showed. I think he showed good leadership abilities.
Yeah. I do think people trusted Kyle.
Yeah.
And I honestly like the way Taylor Heineke handled last year.
Yeah.
With that whole situation.
Taylor's looked good in Washington. Those few games he played for us when he was our backup,
I think he's just as good as Jalen Hurts is.
Yeah, I think he looked awful when he played with us, but
but he was young.
Yeah, but he's become a streaky kind of quarterback. Like, one game he'll tear you up, and then the next one he won't do so good.
Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts got a lot more lucky than we all thought he would. If you had him in fantasy last year, oh my God, he got you points, and it was just because he just take off running. If he didn't know what to do, he'd take off running.
We're gonna have to plan a fantasy draft in the next
month
or so.
Here soon. And that might be an interesting thing to do on Patreon. I don't know if. Let us know somehow. Twitter, Facebook, whatever you got to do. Maybe we should start a Patreon football league. That might be fucking cool. So it's just me. Well, it's just me and Nick, and whoever pays to get into it.
Oh.
And then you're playing football with us. You're drafting with us. You're trading with us. That might be cool. Let us know if that's something you're interested in, and I'll start it up before the season starts. And then we'll get what, let's say the first 10 people who subscribe to our $10 a month, we'll let in.
Yep, but we're not doing it unless it happens, though.
Yeah, the first
Keeping
10
up with
people.
2 leagues is tough.
Yeah, but I'm serious. Like that might be cool if y'all want to play fantasy football with us. We enjoy it, and you know, you can. There's a chat feature, so like you could talk to us if you need help. So, you know, if you never played fantasy and you want to play fantasy, let us know. That's fun.
Yeah,
that might be a cool thing. So yeah, go check out the Patreon. We've got different little levels of subscription, but
tiers,
I believe,
if you will.
yeah, I believe the $10 one gets you access to most things on, which it kind of explains it, but it gives you access to most things that we're putting on Patreon, and we're still building that up. So bear with us as far as content and things like that. But I think that would be a good one, you know, a good one to do. And then just, you know, the first 10 on it, we're in the fantasy league together. Yeah. Now, if you unsubscribe from the Patreon, you won't have access to the content, but if you're already in the fantasy league, you're there, you know? So, it's just to have a good time. We really do enjoy playing fantasy football. Nick likes to play 1 league a year. That's his thing. I've done a couple leagues a year for a while, and I've enjoyed it. So
I did too, like 1 year, and it was too much for me to want to keep up with.
I have a good time playing fantasy football. So, but anyways, if that's something y'all want, either let us know through the sources, or just go do it on Patreon, and we'll know if like 10 of you go subscribe. We'll know. So as soon as that happens, you know, I'll be like, here's the sign up, and I'll just email it to everybody. So that way you're in the league. So, but I think we're cutting it close here, Nick.
Cutting.
Let me see how far. Yeah, we're cutting it towards the end. So should go ahead and lean into legit or shit.
Legit or shit. And I do want to say one thing.
I need to put we need to make some theme music.
Oh yeah.
Like you're the jingle guy, so you know, take this. Legit or
legit, shit. Legit,
There you go.
legit. There we go. Yeah. I do want to say something though. You know, when we did when Lucas Fowler was on our podcast, you did the Amazon reviews. I think you need to bring those back.
Some Amazon reviews.
Those were like, I know I'm not a fan of the show. I'm on the show, but like those were funny.
I think they were fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's another thing. Let us know, like, if there's things that y'all are really enjoying on our cast, because you know, we don't know. We're just kind of we're kind of shooting the shit, but also two, like, we're throwing darts here. You know, so we're doing things that we think is fun and enjoy, but you know, if there's something in particular that you really, really like and would like it to be in every show, let us know. And that kind of helps. I think the Amazon reviews were fun.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's obviously something we got to do every now and then, because they're kind of hard to find. Some of them are old, some of them are new, you know, but that's something I do in my spare time anyways. So if I have enough of them, I'll bring them to the table here.
All right, I don't have a competitor today. It's just me against myself.
You against. I need to get me a buzzer too.
Yeah.
You know, when you're wrong. we'll as Patreon takes off and y'all are supporting the show more, we can afford to make things more production fun. So, you know, if you want me to have a buzzer, or if you want Nick to make a jingle for legit or shit, you know where to go. Where did I put it? Oh, there we go. Okay. So Nick, legit or shit time. The Eiffel Tower changes sizes depending on the time of year. Legit or shit?
I want to say it's shit, but I'm actually going to go with legit.
Bing, 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 bing. It's legit. Good job. The Eiffel Tower can be 15 centimeters taller, which is not much, during the summer, due to thermal expansion, meaning that the iron heats up. Particulates gain kinetic energy and take up more space. So metal structures can expand during the summer.
Happen on certain parts of my body.
If it's made of metal, it can. Only during the summer.
Imagine telling your girlfriend that, like during the summer,
I gained 15 centimeters.
15 centimeters, let me tell you.
15 centimeters, which I don't know. So that's got to be close to a foot, right? 15 centimeters or what? This,
we're not mathematicians.
This big?
Know.
And there's 15 of those, maybe. Okay, less than a foot. Less than a foot, maybe.
Yeah.
Less than a foot.
We're just two dudes that talk. We don't know anything about math or the metric system.
Yeah, or the metric system. Next legit or shit. It's illegal to own one guinea pig in Switzerland. Legit or shit?
I'm gonna say shit.
This one is legit. Oh, so you got it wrong. But why do you think it's so illegal in Switzerland?
I don't know. Can you own two? Or like, so you can't own any at all?
You can't own just one.
Can't own just one. I don't.
So in multiples you can have them, but you can't have just
do
one.
they want them? They want them to reproduce or something?
They consider it animal abuse. To have just one guinea pig.
To not give a guinea pig a companion?
A companion.
Oh,
that's what it is. Since they are social beings and get lonely, it is animal abuse to put them in a cage by themselves.
Makes sense.
A lot of people keep two or three guinea pigs together. That's common. But the fact that it's considered animal abuse is insane.
Yeah.
Like that, to me, that's like Switzerland's just like, we don't fuck with animals. So if you're going to have these as a pet, they're going to be happy. Yeah. They got to be happy.
Look at Switzerland, staying neutral in wars and protecting animals.
Guinea pigs' rights. I mean, it's just strong. Okay, so an avocado is a fruit. Oh, legit or shit?
I'm gonna say legit because it has a seed in it, don't it?
I'm gonna give you that one. It's actually shit, and the reason we had this conversation a second ago, it's considered a berry with a single seed, like a single seeded berry. So that's kind of a mixed one. Like it could be legit or shit. That's why I asked you. I was like, are berries fruits? I don't know if that's true.
Well, like strawberries have multiple seeds in them.
Berries, fruits.
Berry.
Let's see if Google will tell us.
And berries have to be fruits. They can't be vegetables.
Yeah. They're fruits. So I am wrong on that. They're specifically berries, though. So I'm going to give you that one.
Okay.
So you've gotten what, 2?
2.
You've gotten 2. Awesome. I think we've got 2 more. Okay. So out of 3. 2 out of 3 is not so bad. That's not so bad. The Spice Girls were originally in a band called Feel. Legit or shit?
Damn it. I just watched a documentary on the Spice Girls the other day.
Really?
No.
I was hoping you did. I hope you knew this.
I'm going to say legit.
It's shit.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Nick. They were actually in a band called Touch.
Oh.
So that was me being funny. Ha 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 ha. I traded it out for Feel. So Mel C, is that her name? Mel C said, this is a quote from her. When we first started the band called Touch, we were pretty bland. We felt like we had to fit into the mold. So, hinted the Spice Girls.
The Spice Girls. And they are spicy.
And what was it? I used to watch whose line is it anyways?
Oh yeah.
And I remember it was things in a hat or whatever, and they pulled it out and it was just like your favorite Spice Girl or something. And they all did it together and it was just like God, what was it? I'm Baby Spice. I'm what's the other? Oh, I'm Old Spice. I can't remember the other one, but the very, very last one was funny because he was just like, I'm oregano. Like, so
oregano.
He just wasn't a Spice Girl. His just name was Oregano. Anyways, so last legit or shit. Australia is wider than the moon. Legit or shit?
I want to say shit because it just seems so logical. But I feel like this could be a trick question. I'm gonna go with
You're
legit.
2 for 2, so you're gonna go with legit.
Yeah.
Bing, 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 bing. You're 3 for 2. Okay.
How,
so
though?
The moon sits at 3,400 kilometers in diameter, while Australia, from east to west, is almost 4,000 kilometers. So they're actually pretty close.
Well, fucking look at Australia, dude.
Yeah, Australia's a lot bigger than we thought.
Yeah.
I mean,
Got some of the scariest
that
looking
means if
bugs
it was-
that we've ever seen, too.
that means if it was in space, we could see it.
You ever seen that meme where it was? Oh yeah, you ever seen that meme where it's Australia is the land of nope, and it's just pictures
The
of
big
like,
ass
these huge,
land of
these
nope.
huge spiders and like
They've
you know,
got
these
some-
crazy looking animals.
Yeah, I think when you choose to live in Australia, you just kind of expect shit to come up your toilet.
Crikey, mate!
You just expect stuff to come into your house.
Look at the size of its
weirdest
head.
Bees.
She's a beaut.
Yeah. God, I miss Steve Irwin so much. Look.
I've hated stingrays ever since.
The Animal Planet would be so much bigger. Like it was growing so big. Like Animal Planet was a thing.
I had the VHSs.
Yeah, I mean, like I watched it almost every night, like
Yeah.
at least 2 or 3 three times a week. I watched Animal Planet, and I used to watch Steve Irwin in particular with my mother on nights that he came on, and so like she would go into her bedroom and she'd holler at me when he came on, and then I come climb in the bed, and I'm pretty young, and we'd watch it together, and then I'd go back and go to bed or whatever, whatever it was time for. And but I just remember like Animal Planet shit being everywhere. I remember Animal Planet commercials. I remember everything. I just remember it all. It was such a big thing. And then he passed. And then it just wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think it was all his fault. I'm just trying to say that like just nature would be on a different entertainment scale than it is now if Steve was still alive.
Yeah.
Because he was just doing something different.
Yeah, and when I was a kid, I used to get these books. I don't remember what they were called, like zoology or something like that. Like,
Zoo.
like
I remember Zoo Pals. Remember the plates?
Yeah, I remember those. What was it called? It was like zoology, zoo book, or something.
Were they made by Animal Planet?
No, I don't think so. This might be it. Zoo books.
Zoo books.
Yeah, because I remember
Get you a zoo book.
Yeah, I remember the title, like the actual wording, zoo books being colorized. Yeah, I think that's.
Oh
it.
yeah, I've seen those.
I used to get those all.
They
the
were
time
like a
as kid.
subscription service,
Yeah,
and they'd send them to you in the mail.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I remember getting those. Yeah. So
why did we ever let Steve Irwin die?
That was around. That was around the time that Steve Irwin was alive. So.
Which I know his kids are doing shit, but they're just not. They're not Steve.
No.
Sorry,
kiddos.
Sorry. If you can do what he did, prove it. I'd like to see it. But gung ho to them for keeping the zoo going, though. Like they are still, trucking along. The Irwins are still involved in habitat rehabilitation. That was Steve's thing. Like he was getting paid for all that shit, and then he was just taking it and buying land and just saving it. Like he was just like, I'm just going to buy this piece of land so a corporation don't. Like that was his thing.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that is fucking cool. Yeah. Like he's just not going to do anything with it, or he's going to put some alligators on it. Like that's what he's going to do with it. That's badass. Like, or he's going to plant some trees, or he's going to make an environment for somebody, whether it be a weird animal or whatever, I don't know. Anyways, he was the man.
R.I.P.
One of the true legends. Alrighty. So, again, find us at Patreon, find us at Twitter, find us on the Facebook group. We have the most fun in the Facebook group. We hit over 150 members.
Mostly from us, like, just bringing people in, but hey, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Well, still to me, 150 people is a feat.
Oh,
like, that's It's pretty awesome.
William Peduto, if you're listening, we're going to get to the Carolina Guitar and Gear Trader numbers soon. So we are coming for you, sir.
We're coming for you.
Much love.
Actually, you know what, William? Just give us all your members.
Yes. Because most of them will like our content because we talk about guitars.
I talk about guitars. Yeah, I guess if we have guitar specific episodes, we could probably ask him to post it there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's been great. Do you have anything else for us, Nick, before we go?
I feel like I did.
I did.
But now it's gone, I guess.
I'll have to wait.
I finished Obi-Wan Kenobi the other night, and it was solid.
I still need to watch that.
It was muy solid.
I still need to watch that.
Yes. And then I posted this on Facebook too. I went and like watched some reviews on it or read some reviews, and most of them were pretty negative. And I was like, oh, well, I thought it was really good. Why does everybody hate everything Star Wars? Like the fans, why do they hate even A New Hope? Like, why do they hate A New Hope? Like, they're not perfect, but
did it give you better context to kind of why Obi-Wan was the way he is? I want to watch it, so don't spoil it for me. But
what do you mean when you say the way he is? Like, what do you mean?
He's an interesting character because
this took place 10 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith, so he was already well beyond, like, this was, after the fall of the Jedi and stuff like that. So, it basically, spoiler alert, but basically starts out with him still living
Don't go too far.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go too far, but basically it starts out with him living on Tatooine. He's looking over Luke.
Okay, he's looking over Luke,
and then Leia gets kidnapped or whatever, and so he's called upon to rescue her. But he doubts himself because he hasn't been like in the Jedi religion for 10 years now. He's just been kind of working in a meat factory.
Normal.
Yeah, he's working in a meat factory and stuff, and like, his powers are kind of weak right now too. And he's trying to talk to Qui-Gon. He's
not as trained as he once was.
Yeah, he's trying to talk to like Qui-Gon, the ghost Qui-Gon, but he can't seem to fully get it yet because he's just not.
Yeah, well, that's a feat that like Yoda could barely do.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine, like, for an untrained or an unpracticed Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan was definitely could be considered one of the best Jedi who ever lived, for sure.
I think either him or Yoda.
Yeah, I think the problem with Obi-Wan kind of went the opposite way. So, like, the idea of the Jedi religion is really more of a kind of could be a bad thing. Like, you're not supposed to love, you're not supposed to hate, you're not supposed to feel, you're really supposed to be neutral, like, to every situation. And the reason why is because any of that can bring on the dark side. So Anakin obviously fought with a lot of it, like happiness, anger, everything. He just let himself feel.
Why won't you make me a master?
So to an extent, Obi-Wan did that too. So the difference is you see how either of them turned out. So they both kind of did the same thing. Qui-Gon was a lot more controlled. Like, I think he was a great Jedi. Like, I think he was what a Jedi should have been modeled after. The only problem is that Qui-Gon does not take... you can't really tell him what to do, if that sort of makes sense. Like he never should have plucked Anakin from that planet. That was he saw something great in Anakin, but that's also what started
and then Yoda
the whole
was like,
sequence.
Yoda's like, I don't know, Qui-Gon.
Yeah. Well, that's basically what he said. Like, he's just like, you need to take him back. And Qui-Gon's just like, I'm going to train him whether you let me be a Jedi or not.
Yeah.
And so
basically it's Qui-Gon's fault that the Empire exists.
Absolutely. Well, it's not his fault that the Empire exists. It already sort of existed. It was just very undercover. The Sith were present.
Yeah.
But the whole plucking of Anakin and Darth Vader becoming a thing and the Empire becoming as powerful as it was. Yes. So basically he started those events. And then relied upon Obi-Wan to finish those said events. But in, I'm just saying, like, as an old man, Obi-Wan was becoming more one, I would say. Like, young Obi-Wan versus old Obi-Wan, I feel, are two different people, So what you watched should have been kind of his becoming, I would say.
Yeah.
Becoming a true Jedi. Because,
I
mean, there's stories about Obi-Wan, like, fucking bitches on different planets for a long time. Like he had a lot of lovers and things like that. And he obviously cared about Anakin a lot, and he shouldn't have.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have. But he did. And that's why he didn't finish him. That's a problem.
Dude, I saw a meme today.
Should have just finished him.
I saw a meme today that was freaking great. It was Ewan McGregor, and he was, for those that don't know, he's the guy that plays Obi-Wan. And he was, but it was like just the actor, and he was beside a grill, like grilling something. And so, but the caption was just like, yeah, so then he screamed, "I hate you!" And then he started making sizzling noises like this. It's just like him. Yeah. I thought that was great.
Flips burger on grill.
Yeah. Then he just started sizzling like this.
Alrighty. Well, I think that's been the Disarrangement. Thank you so much. And thanks again to Dani Kerr for being here. It's she's not here
great.
currently,
What a
but
great guest.
yeah, she was very insightful. I love how like her voice doesn't really show excitement, but I think she does.
Oh yeah.
Like her body language really shows you, like when you say something to her and she's just like, yeah, like she gets it. But her voice overall, I guess I haven't heard her talk. But like it's just very calming to me. Like it's very, very calming. So thank you for being here. If you're watching this over now that I guess now that band practice is over.
Oh, band practice is killing right now.
Yeah, we kicking ass.
Yeah.
So, but again, find us on all the awesome places. Patreon can be a thing if you want it to be. Also, if you want to play fantasy football, I'm going to leave that out there for you. Get $10. First 10 people. Well, yeah, I guess we'd have a 12-person league. First 10 people. I'm going to say that. It's going to be a big league. 12 people. First 10 people. So you'll let me know either by that or just let me know on the Facebook page, and then just start subscribing. So
give us your money.
Most importantly, give us our money, because in the last episode, Jake Branscombe let me know that these headphones are going bad, and these are our guest headphones. So we're going to need some new headphones. We also need some cameras. We need more lights. We need more we need more production. We're working on it as best we can at a slow pace, but if you want things to move faster, if you want this show to get better, you know how to support us in that way. But until then, keep listening. That's the best way to support us, is just keep listening. Keep finding the more episodes. We'll have more guests and all that good stuff. But I think that's about it from my end. You feeling good, Nick?
Yes.
I feel like we said what we needed to say. So, it's been 2 weeks. Well, it's been a week and
some days.
It's been a week and 6 days. It's been 2 weeks. We'll see you in 2 more. Have a great night or day whenever you're listening to this podcast.
Jaeger is good.
Prepare to get disarranged.